Welcome to Armchair Expert, Experts on Expert. Whew. Guys, buckle up, grab an extra pair of pants.
And a helmet.
My number one crush is here today, Toto Wolff.
He's a worthy crush.
Oh my God.
He was fantastic. He had such a fun personality. I was very surprised.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm fascinated by someone that can be as serious as he is to make that team function, and then as goddamn playful and fun as he was outside of that.
Fun.
So if you're not into F1, doesn't matter. You'll still love this because we're mostly talking about kind of mental health and the struggles of being a manager and all these things.
His life.
But for context, he is the team principal and CEO of AMG Mercedes, which won 8 constructors championships in a row, which has never happened. No one's ever come close to that.
For F1.
For Formula One. His accomplishment there will likely never be
so cool.
Taken away from it. It's just an unparalleled success as a team principal and a CEO. He's as good as you could be at this job. He is a part of a really interesting new book called Inside Mercedes F1, Life in the Fast Lane by Matt Wyman. Great read if you're interested in the workings of that team, which are really fascinating. That's a great starter. Please enjoy Toto Wolff. We are presented by Amazon Prime. It's more than just fast, free shipping. Whatever you're into, it's on Prime. So keep listening and watching to hear more about why we love Prime during the fact check.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
You feel free to use that pillow as well.
No,
if you need. This sucks. We're getting a new couch. Just
No,
now.
I think it doesn't.
Okay, you're fine.
Yeah.
Can I put the feet
God,
up?
you're
Yes,
fucking
you do
gorgeous
whatever.
in person, Monica.
You
How
are
overwhelming
very
is it?
handsome. I know.
Yeah.
And you're very tall.
Yeah, I'm
a bit taller than
194.
me.
A tiny bit, but you're better trained.
Listen, there's a lot of nerdy things I did today. I was going to wear bigger shoes.
Oh, you were?
Because I hoped to be as tall as him in the photo.
Okay.
And I even considered putting on my work boots. And I'm like, you can't cheat. What are you wearing?
No,
You
I'm
have a
wearing
heel?
flats.
Okay, good. You're on the floor too. But yeah, that crossed my mind as that you just saw. I opened one of my garage doors hoping you would be interested in my cars.
And how did that go? You guys were outside for a few minutes. Did you like them?
I like it a lot because it's a good mix between, there's a Mercedes, obviously.
Yes, obviously.
And then I like the bikes. I'm riding bikes as well.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What do you ride? Like a tour adventure bike?
What is it called? It's a vintage bike.
MV Agusta?
An MV Agusta I have as well. So the story with the MV Agusta is more interesting than the Austrian bike I just mentioned.
Okay.
So one day it rings at the door and we are having scheduled dinner with Louis in Monaco.
Okay.
So he knows Susie for a long time. They race cars. So he comes for dinner. He rings at the door and says, "Come down, please." And I'm saying, "No, come up. We're up here. Come up to the apartment." No, there's really something I'd like to show you.
Oh.
So, and take Susie. So we are going down. Susie with me, and he's there with his bike, and it's an MV Agusta Lewis Hamilton edition.
Okay.
So I said, "Well, it's great, the bike. Is that what you wanted to show me?" And he says, "It's yours."
Oh.
And I said, "How come?" He says, "You've done so many great things, and you and I together, and I've never given you a gift. So I want to give you the number 1 of a 44 edition."
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's
a very
sweet.
sweet present.
So the other one is a Triumph Thruxton, which was converted by a German tuner to a proper cafe racer. And that's the bike I ride every day.
Okay. I don't know if you saw in the garage. Sorry, Monica, I'm going to wrap up the technical stuff
No,
here.
it's
Just
okay. I have
short.
a sense this is going to be fairly...
You had appropriate expectations.
Yeah, I did. I have a Mercedes too that we should tell Toto.
I'm about to defame Lewis.
Uh-oh, boy.
Because
okay.
Toto, he didn't give him. Lewis earned them.
Yeah.
But he got 7 championships
That's
under
right.
Toto's direction.
That's right. Yes.
You and I were working together for 3 years, and I bought you a C43 AMG.
Yeah, I got a present 3 years in.
That's much better than an MV Agusta.
I got another present, which is worse.
Worse.
An unlimited amount of money. So, drivers are very particular with helmets.
Yes.
And Louis has all of the helmets that he's collected. So giving helmets away for him is a real struggle.
Yes.
So I got lovely helmets from Valtteri or from Nico in the past, but I knew they are less emotional about it.
Yes. And can I ask quickly, he has a new helmet every race, right?
No, I wouldn't say every race, but there's for sure like every second or third race.
Because I noticed new paint jobs.
Yeah, they
often.
change. And I think he's given me his most special one.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, so there was when Niki Lauda died, who we were very close, both of us, he made a Niki Lauda design helmet for the Monaco race in 2019.
Yeah.
And he won it holding on to, I think Daniel was behind him. It was a huge struggle. So he gave me the Niki Lauda memorial helmet, Monaco race win. And he wrote something nice on it. And I think this is a piece of memory that is, that has no
priceless.
value. That's priceless.
Yeah.
Okay, new goal in life. We're going to ride together at some point.
We can,
We
yeah.
can be far down the when we're retired or something. Okay, let's start in Austria. First of all, we're both Capricorns, and I can feel your Capricornness. Even though I don't believe in astrology, I can feel your Capricornness.
What is that?
Very determined. My feelings are kind of secret. I can't show vulnerability. I'm on schedule. I have to win. I'm going to beat myself up until I do. I'm managing everything. Control
No
freak.
nonsense. A bit
No
of
bullshit.
no nonsense.
Tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Does this sound familiar?
That sounds about familiar. But I don't believe in astrology either.
Me neither.
You neither.
Yeah.
So there is something that maybe Capricorns have in common is that they are born into cold January.
Boom.
Boom.
Yes. The world is a hostile place when you arrive.
Exactly.
Yeah. Especially in Austria.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm thinking whether Detroit or Austria is more hostile.
It depends if we're including homicides, because I think Detroit has, yeah.
Yeah, it has. And maybe also the freshness of the air.
Yes.
But that's why you're a car person also, no?
Now, I was shocked to learn this morning that you're not Germanic. You're not Austrian. Your dad is Romanian and your mother is Polish.
Yeah.
And were they immigrants or had they grown up in Austria?
My father was born in Bucharest and they immigrated after the war, interestingly.
Okay.
And I think there was a big wave of anti-Semitism back in the day. So my grandparents were called Rosa and Herschel. And when they moved to Austria, they called themselves Olaf and Maria.
Oh, wow.
So it's like the opposite. It's like, we are not Jewish.
Yeah.
Wearing lederhosen and blowing horns, really saying I'm Austrian.
Exactly. And my mother came to Vienna when she was 18, speaking no word of German, and studied medicine, became a doctor. So that's why they met.
Now, mom was a physician. What type? Like a family doctor or
Anesthetist.
Ooh.
anesthesiologist?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. She had all the drugs.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Easy
She took
access.
some herself, but that's a different story.
Sure. What did your dad do for a living?
He had a transport company.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. And I know what you're referring to. In Austria, back in the day, you had to prepay the VAT for your customers. So that was taking a lot of risks.
Yeah.
So that went belly up.
So he was struggling and mom was succeeding in a pretty dramatic way.
No, I think my father was very successful at a young age. And I was born into money, actually. But then he lost all and had a brain cancer.
At 8, right? You're
at
8 years old.
Yeah, and at the beginning it was benign, and then over the next few years it got really ugly to a degree that it was uncurable. But he struggled for so long because he got operated, and he changed his personality. And when a son is in his teenage years, you need your dad.
Yeah.
You need your dad to look up to love. You need your dad to hate and to fight when you grow up. And that he wasn't present anymore.
Yeah, because you were 8 when he got diagnosed, and then you were 15 when he died.
Yeah.
Your parents also got divorced when you were 8. That had no relation to the brain cancer diagnosis, did it?
No, the divorce was that. Sorry, that must be a kid
all right.
or
Could
my
be
wife.
important. Okay, let's see
Feel
which
free
one.
to answer. We also
I'd love
edit.
to say hi to Susie if she's there.
Susie, I'm right in the podcast. You
Hello,
can speak to
Susie. I
Dax.
love you.
No, I'll pass you over. I'll pass you over.
Oh, this is so exciting.
Susie? No, listen to me. This is such a delight. If my wife dies and Toto dies, I'm sprinting to you, okay? I just want to say, what a dynamo. A beautiful race car driver who also runs an academy. What more does someone
pretty
need?
cool.
All right, I'm going to turn you back to him, but I'm delighted to hear your voice. All right, here's Toto. Oh, this is...
Hello?
How fun.
Okay, sleep well. Okay.
Oh, she's going to bed.
Yeah, she's in Scotland.
She's in
with us.
Scotland.
Yeah. And so I have this override in ringtones. It's my wife and my 2 children.
Oh, you need to show me how to do that.
Oh, that's
Yeah, like an
smart.
emergency bypass. So it always rings, even though I don't have a ringtone. I have the phone never on, just when they call.
Okay. Yeah, I need to figure out how to do that.
Yeah,
apologies.
Because mine's just never on. If we become friends, text me.
I do.
We don't need to talk on the phone.
Yeah, but I can give you an emergency override, like a bypass. So if there's something that really bothers you, you just call me.
If I'm in a really bad situation.
I'd be careful with giving him that. Also, you can't ignore calls then. If Kristen calls and you
have no
can't say,
excuse.
oh, I didn't get it.
No, what I got to figure out is how to put it on her phone because she doesn't ever
That's true.
answer the phone.
That's true.
But what I think happened is I was asking you about your parents' divorce and Susie was always there. And then she hit a button to call to interrupt that question because she's like, oh, Toto's not going to want to talk about that.
No, I
This is
talk
a
openly
personal-
about it
I know. You're wonderful.
because this is who I am.
Yes. This is later in the conversation, but I'll say you and I have a blessing. We're big enough and we fit the role enough that it affords us a willingness to be vulnerable in a way men have a hard time doing. And I think it's a luxury.
Yeah.
I think if I had a different life, it would be much harder for me. So I recognize it is easier for me than someone else.
And we need to speak up about it.
Yeah.
Because people look up to us
Yes.
and they think we're not vulnerable.
Yeah.
And and we're going to speak afterwards, like you said, I had these moments where I felt inadequate. And I've had somebody telling me back in the day, I have what you have and I suffer, but I'm still successful.
Yeah.
That would have given me a lot of hope.
Yeah.
And I didn't have hope at times.
Yeah, in your teens, and this happens. But mom and dad separated, so that was separate from
Yeah.
the diagnosis. They just were having their own.
No, that was related to the failure of the company. I think my dad made my mother sign some collateral, and she got a house, like an apartment building from her dad for the marriage.
Yeah.
And that was gone, plus a credit. So that was already, my father was very ill, didn't know anymore what was right and wrong.
Yeah.
And then she said, trust is very difficult to build, and it's gone. So that's where they separated. But I have no bad memory about the separation, to be honest.
You don't?
No, they never had a bad word with each other. They kept that away from us. It was more seeing my mother struggle to make a living for us, and my father not having had any money anymore. And that went so bad that I saw people coming to him asking, basically to empty your pockets. And that was tough for a young man.
Yeah.
Did you have brothers and sisters?
I have a young sister, but she's not so young anymore. She's 2 years my junior.
The thing I thought of, and this is a tricky question, but my dad got diagnosed with small cell carcinoma in August, and he was dead on January 1st. So it was like a 3-month thing. And then my stepdad got prostate cancer, and that was like a 2.5, 3 year thing.
Yeah.
And I'll say the stress of having a loved one have a condition that you're not sure when the end is. I found the experience with my dad much easier to process. It's like, okay, this is happening. Let's spend the next few months together. I'll clear my schedule. I'll take you to your appointments. I find it very hard. And the notion that your dad had this condition for 7 years, and you're just kind of like, where are we at? What's going to happen? That feels very stressful. And then a guilt when you feel relieved it's over.
Exactly. First of all, sorry to hear about your dad and
Yeah.
your stepdad. A terrible guilt, because it was at the point that his life was miserable. And I saw it. And then you lose the connection, you lose respect. And it came to a point that when he died, I think today in hindsight, it was better for him. But I thought it's better for all of us.
Yeah.
And the guilty feeling that you have was so bad. And it's something that I only processed in the last few years.
Oh, really? Well, you were a kid.
Yeah, so you can't in a way analyze the feelings that maybe you could because you were an adult. But for me, that guilty feeling of thinking it's better for my dad to be gone.
Well, you kind of wish it be over for them.
Exactly.
And yourself.
And myself and my sister. I saw, I think also we were so close. I remember being on his deathbed. And obviously you're not seeing your father anymore, like the strong personality that people talk about.
Yeah.
These memories, for a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old sister, I'm not sure I would do the same as me as a parent.
Yeah.
Well, you're mourning twice. Like first you mourn them with the diagnosis, but they're dead essentially before they're dead because they changed completely.
Yes.
It's hard to deal with. They've been gone for a while.
But to me, that was a huge gift because I had so much resentment. They got divorced when I was 3. He had a great life. We lived kind of poorly. I had a lot of judgment of him. And there was the moment where I looked at him, and you're right. He was not the big demonstrative alpha male. He was a little boy on a bed. And I thought, oh yeah, he's like a little boy. And he's always been a little boy. And I'm still a little boy. And you never stop being a little boy. And it actually dissolved so much resentment.
Yeah.
To see he's just a human that's scared. That was weirdly a gift.
Yeah, I think as an adult, it's a gift, but
Not at 15.
not at 15.
No.
No, not at 15. There was certainly memories that are hugely difficult to digest as a kid. And as I said, I'm 52 today. I would say that I probably processed that in the last 5 years only.
Yeah.
That I look at it, I feel more calm and reassured in my own existence. Only now I have found peace with him dying over so many years, and also with my mother, because my mother wasn't present at all because she needed to earn the money and she needed to look after herself and protect herself. So my sister and I were at home. We had Polish housekeeper. That was good for the language, actually, but she wasn't there. And now she's 79. She's not well. And she says to me, I wasn't a good mother. And I say, I forgive you because I know how difficult it was to be at home and see the suffering. Yeah. But at the end, you're also responsible of how I am today. So I'd rather, as a kid, not having trauma, but I'm 52 years. And if you ask me whether I'd rather be who I am today or a white elephant, I'd rather be who I am today.
Yeah.
I think that's the weird piece you have to come to with your past, which is if you're lucky enough to end up somewhere you're happy with, like as you have and I have kids I love so much and have a great wife, I have I go, well, fuck, I wouldn't tinker with anything because I still want to end up right here. So I got to understand and process that it was hurtful and these things happen, and also have a weird gratitude for it, and like it too.
Yeah, exactly my thoughts and my feelings.
Yeah. Did something prompt 5 years ago? Why 5 years ago did you start confronting that?
I think that I was so busy in my life to get things done. And I always had that anxiety about failure.
Yeah.
I said it jokingly that I'm a half empty glass person.
Yeah.
I always stare into the abyss. Everything could be finished tomorrow. The racing could be ending, the winning ends, the money could be all gone. Yeah. My wife leaves me for the hairdresser. I mean, all of that. I don't believe that anymore, by the way. With Susie,
it'll be her trainer, not her hairdresser.
It would be the fitness trainer. Yeah. There is always dangers. And only in the last few years, I thought if everything was to end today, I could go with a good feeling.
You're there.
Yeah.
You are.
Absolutely.
If I were you, and I set out on this journey first as a race car driver, then pivoting and becoming an investor in teams, then becoming a team principal and a CEO and having all this success. 5 years ago, you would have been on your 6th Constructors Championship in a row. And if I were you, I would go, wow, we did absolutely everything we wanted to do. Where is the elation? Why aren't I whole? Why don't I feel content? Why am I still scared?
You're absolutely right. But I lost that anxiety. I'm thinking I have a wonderful relationship with my children.
Yeah.
Like you said about your relationships, I have the best wife that I can imagine. I have done what I wanted to do. And that's why I would have peace if I would be dying today. And that would have then in a way been destiny. But then there is a certain risk that's coming with that too, contentment. And that's not good.
Right. It's scary, right?
No, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Because you'll have no fuel.
I wouldn't say no fuel, but there is these moments where my anger is gone. So I need to proactively condition myself and say, what are my objectives? And in 2020, when the music stopped, for someone that likes the music and doesn't like calm, I had a year that I was really bad mentally, and I had to reflect, do I want to go back as an investor and look at multiple companies and be on the board, see businesses and technology that interest me and the variety of it? Or do I want to consider as a racing person, as basically a one-trick pony? And I came to the conclusion that I found my niche between business, finance, and the love for the stopwatch and the honesty for the stopwatch. And at that moment, I really proactively, intellectually decided there is more to do and more to win and more to conquer. But it is more with an emotion that is less anxious about success.
Yeah.
But the drive isn't gone. It's just it's channeled in a different way.
Okay, great. So this is my huge fear, is that my motivation for the last 49 years has been, you're lazy, you're a piece of shit, you're a failure, you're an embarrassment.
Imposter.
And now get up and do things to disprove that theory. And so the great fear of mine is like, if I can I write from a place of happiness and love? Can I act from a place of happiness and love and not fear? Could I win from a place that's not fear-based? And that's a leap of faith. I'm like midway there. I'm not where you're at. I don't fully trust that without some bit of cancerous rumination, I'll actually be motivated.
But you have 2 years to, get over this.
You're right.
And those 2 years were important for me. But it's that, I think, imposter syndrome and all of the characteristics you mentioned, they have softened. They haven't completely gone away.
Yeah.
But as I said, they're conditioned in a healthier way.
Yeah.
And, there's many people that don't want to go to a psychiatrist because they fear that they're losing their ability. Artists, writers, people that have a lot of creativity that don't want to go to sort out their mental problems. They don't want to go on medication because they believe this is a huge fuel of their creativity. Because how often do we actually spend time in thinking about our objectives? And the analogy we are having in the team is being between the dance floor and the balcony. We're on the dance floor most of the time. That is, in action.
Yeah.
When are we going actually on the balcony and looking down what's happening on the dance floor and thinking about what is my strategy? What's my long-term strategy here? What is it that I believe I should recalibrate?
Mm-hmm. A lot of these different tech gurus have this built-in moment in their schedule. For some people, it's like 4 days a month, or it's a week a month, or it's a month a year.
Bill Gates' reading week.
Yeah. Takes that stack of books and he sits in his little cabin and he allows himself to stop staring at the thing in front of him. And I get that kind of wider perspective. You can't really do that. Or how would you do that? Because you have 23 races. And then in the off season, it's maybe even more work because you have the next iteration of the car coming out next year. So how on earth do you build in that time?
So I do it actively. For me, for example, flying in an airplane, and I do 600 hours a year, for whatever reason, I don't enjoy watching movies. I don't enjoy listening to music. I like reading. And the reading gives me a stimulation of thinking about those things. So I stare at the ceiling. I do it in the mornings. I take my time in the mornings for myself, and lying in bed for another 20 minutes allows me to do these things. So it's actually activities that run in a way on autopilot. And I don't know if you know that. There is a scientific explanation to that why do you have your best ideas in the shower, in the toilets, while shaving, in the car? Because your brain is actually active, but it's on autopilot. You're doing all of that. So that is why we have those creative moments. And for me, it's also lying in bed or it's flying in an airplane. I think a lot about those things and I write them down.
Right. That makes sense. And I relate to that. I need a certain level of distraction where you're right. The subconscious is driving the car. I'm not actually driving the car. It's just happening. And that's the perfect amount of activity that allows me to wander in my head because I'm doing something. So I'm kind of liberated to do that.
But we're all different, interestingly, because when I'm having an activity that is where I need to put some force in, for example, going to the gym, and I think you're doing lots of that.
Thank you for noticing.
Or going for a walk to do my 10,000 steps. For me, this is like a meditation in the activity itself. I'm not capable of thinking about anything else. But Susie, when she goes on her 20,000 steps a day or in the gym, she comes back with lots of stuff that she writes down. So we're all different.
True.
Do you think the fear of failure being so intense is because you saw your dad lose everything? My
dad lost everything too, by the way. My dad was rich, then poor, then filed bankruptcy 3 times before he died.
Okay.
There wasn't a consistency there. You saw everything go away. So I can imagine that makes you feel like anything can go away at any moment.
For sure.
Yeah.
That is a scar. There was like a perfect storm because they tried to have me in a private school, in a French school in Vienna. So I saw the rich kids.
Yeah.
And you're not a poor kid in a poor environment where everything is pretty normal, but you're seeing the rich kids and you're seeing them going on the fancy holidays.
Yeah, going skiing. And
I remember exactly that moment, Christmas holidays, last day of school, and there is these friends of mine that got into the car with one of the dads, and they went off skiing, the three of them together. And I don't. And the suffering of that very moment is still so much in me.
Yeah.
do you know what that fucking garage is all about? Is that I wanted the cool BMX bike. Kids had the cool BMX bike. The GT, the Haro, the Hutch, and I didn't.
Compensation mechanism.
Yeah, and I wanted that fucking bicycle, and this is the bicycle.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still healing the wound of the bicycle.
I know, but the problem is you get the bicycle and then it doesn't work.
No, exactly.
It doesn't work.
It's
you
the
don't,
fantasy
or you
it
go
will.
skiing and it doesn't work. Then you're like,
It
well,
does.
now what? Did it work for
Yeah,
you?
it 100% does for me.
Wow. Oh, I'm jealous of that.
And 100% does for me.
You're like, I'm fixed now.
No, not completely fixed, but I know there was these things I wanted to tick. There is this nice skiing place in Austria where everybody went and it was very expensive. And it's actually a small village and there's nothing particular, but having a place there was a life target, and I have now. Actually, there's probably better places. Then also going through this car and bike motion. I remember my dad only had a very, very old BMW, 10 years old, and it was damaged, but he didn't have the money to actually repair it. And then a friend's dad had I don't know if you remember that, a Mercedes AMG 560 SEC.
Oh, baby.
That's exactly down your line when I look at your garage.
The problem with those cars is impossible to work on, but continue.
Yeah.
I love them. That's Miami Vice.
That's Miami Vice, yeah.
Yeah. Ground effects and the...
Exactly. And when I showed these cars to Susie or to my children and I say, that was my dream. They say, seriously? Serious?
Yes,
it looks awful. Or Porsche Turbo, the 3 liters, the early ones.
How about a rough, like a rough 911, RUFF?
Yeah, it wasn't so rough. Roof. It's a German company.
Okay, sorry.
Roof. Wasn't a big thing back in the day. These tuners didn't exist in that form, but black 911 turbo 3 liter 4 gearbox, the Widowmaker 930. That was exactly
slant nose. Oh, baby. I do think when you don't have a dad around for some of these pivotal rites of passage, you have to go get a lot of these exterior things to comfort yourself that you are becoming a man. Do you relate to any of that stuff? The masculinity portion?
No. The masculinity portion doesn't relate to me. I had also, when my father got ill, I had that feeling that I took so much responsibility on for my sister that I wanted to be an adult. I wanted to be in control of my life. I didn't want to be embarrassed for my parents anymore. And that attitude of being the man in the house happened when I was very young.
Right.
So I never struggled with that. It was more about the things that I saw from parents of my friends that were successful. This is what I wanted to achieve. So the things were like a Ferrari car collection, for example, or one of my closest friends today, and I love him to bits. His dad was the president of the local football club. And there was this famous sport show on Monday evening, which was called Sport am Montag, which was Sport on Monday. And it was prime time and only the best people were there. And I remember him being there. And I thought, one day I would like to be in this sport show because that means success.
Wow.
And then these things happened and you realize they're so nice because you kind of say to yourself, I can't believe it. I'm there now.
Yeah. Full circle.
Full circle.
And for you, it works.
For me, that works.
Yeah, that's great.
That is great.
I think that's kind of rare.
Is it?
I think so. And I don't know what part is American and what part is your culture and being European, but I don't know, America, it's like, do this, make this, be special, be unique, be individual. And then you do those things, and what you kind of feel like is like, oh yeah, and all I've accomplished is I've kind of alienated myself from everyone, and it doesn't feel as fun as I thought it was going to feel. Like you start questioning the whole promise of it. But I'm delighted that's not happening for you.
No, that's not happening for me. And I'm thinking why? Maybe because, and you will think that's counterintuitive by being in Formula One, I have never felt Well, that's actually not true. I wanted to say I've never felt of surpassing people. But what I felt was anger against all the people that let my dad down. So at the beginning, it was like, I'm going to show you.
Yeah.
And they were obviously a generation above me, but that was important.
Really quick. Yeah. Who were you going to show? Was there a list of actual people or was it just an idea of people?
No, there was a list of actual people that didn't respect my father.
Right.
And but that was the early years of my professional life. But when I started to think about it, I'm actually trying to meet my own expectations. Mm-hmm. And you know, that sports show on Monday was my own expectations. I wasn't on telly. Didn't want to be on telly because I wanted to show that I'm there. It was only for me, and it is still today. When I'm not having the success and not achieving the objectives that I set myself, that is where I feel humiliated towards myself. Interestingly, not anybody else.
Right.
I'm in an absolute competition against myself, not a relative competition to others.
I completely relate to that. Yeah, as I say, you shouldn't ever compare yourself to someone else. You should only compare yourself to previous versions of yourself.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
The things I didn't fantasize about that I've gotten, because I've gotten a lot of stuff I wasn't even bold enough to fantasize about.
Yeah.
And those things are really fun because I didn't have a fantasy and an expectation of how I was going to feel and how much I was going to like myself or what kind of self-esteem I would have. I didn't have anything built on top of this fantasy. So the things that have happened that were unexpected, no, those I really can enjoy. I don't want to downplay how much, joy I do get out of this crazy privileged existence I've had.
And it's good because you're 50 years old and you're actively enjoying things, experiences, material things. And there is many people who don't. Yeah. And for them, it's just the next thing and the next thing. And they come to the conclusion that it's actually not what they expected. And then you're in a vicious circle of if you can afford to buy more and more and more and seek other relationships, suddenly your marriage is not good anymore because you've seen the next, was about to say blonde, but obviously that's not what I meant. It was more of a cliche.
5 foot tall Indian princess.
Of course, yeah.
No, I know what you mean. Next bombshell.
No, seriously, that you're very attractive.
Oh, thank you. That's so.
Oh my God, I'm so jealous of you.
Nice. That's so nice.
But always the next thing, the grass is always green on the other side, and that's not what I have.
Yeah.
Now, I do have some questions about how you got to where you ended up. There's a couple gaps in what I can learn about you that are curious to me. Like one is you go at 18 and you see Formula One, or you go to some racing.
No, not Formula One.
Not Formula One. Okay, but you go to some racing event and you go, I want to do this. Now, it's too late for you to do that. 18 is too late for you to do that.
Much.
Yeah, we know this. You had to be karting at 6, right? So how on earth did you end up racing Formula Ford without the karting background?
So I didn't have an interest for motorsport. I had an interest in road cars. Mm-hmm. That was my thing. Because of my past, which we discussed, it was quite disappointing to find out that my first car, my mother bought it, obviously I didn't have any money, was a Volkswagen Beetle. Yeah. No. It ended against a tree 6 months later, and I wouldn't say I was disappointed.
You manifested that?
I manifested that, yeah.
They had just enough horsepower to crash into a tree. Barely enough.
So there is a famous road through the Viennese forest around the city, which is called the Höhenstraße, and they had in the 50s, 60s, 70s a very famous race there because it's cobblestone. And when it's wet, that starts to be tricky. Yeah. So that was my road. It's about, I would say, 10 kilometers, very twisty, very fast. And I raced with my friends there with the Beetle. And one day in the rain, I woke up on a Saturday morning, thought it's raining, it's great, I'm going to take the Beetle onto that Höhenstraße, that road. And bang, off I went against the tree. The steering wheel even broke.
Oh my God.
So that was it. Crazy stuff, which we did back in the days. Yeah. Friend had a Porsche, and there was a straight with, I don't know, a kilometer with a huge bump in the middle. And each of us was trying with the others in the passenger seat. of the maximum speed we could achieve before braking for the next corner.
Oh my God.
It's like 40 kilometers an hour.
Oh.
And that's crazy. But back to your question.
I just want you to know I've been in a lot of those passenger seats and I hate it.
Yeah, but as a kid, you almost don't realize, the
You
risks
don't.
you're
You're
putting
in
yourself
another
on.
zone.
Yeah. It's like you talking about your daughter. You want her to ride a motocross bike rather than sitting on the back and crashing with somebody who wants to show off.
A 16-year-old
Yeah.
trying to impress her.
Yeah, to being masculine.
Masculine,
Yeah.
yes.
Masculinity.
And his masculinity journey.
Yeah.
Exactly. So for me, I didn't have the spot on my radar. And then we visited a track in Germany, the Nürburgring.
I've driven it. So fun.
Yeah,
You have a record there?
I have a record there.
Yeah.
Maybe
In a 911 RS.
Yeah, it was the big fat 911.
2009.
Yes, GT2 RS or whatever the racing version was, but the one with the most powerful engine, naturally aspirated engine.
Do you remember your time?
It was a 703, but the track was different because it wasn't the new asphalt, so it was much bumpier and riskier. And the record was, I think, 705, but crazy dangerous.
Yeah. There's nothing like it.
No, there's nothing like it. And I was already befriended with Niki Lauda, who had his crash in Formula One there. And
Is that where he
burned. That's why he
burns?
burned. And he said, why do you do this? It's so stupid, so dangerous. Nobody cares what you're doing on the Nürburgring.
I care.
It was very pragmatic. And I was in a bit of a midlife crisis. And so that was on a preparation lap. And the car was already feeling old. The tires were falling apart. And then I said to myself, and that is the amateur approach, I'm going to give it one try. Whilst already knowing that the car had an issue. And at one try, I was up 15 seconds. So it would have been a 640 or 635.
Whoa. Anything sub 7 is
It's very
Outrageous.
fast.
Okay.
Today, a good time is around 620 or so. But that was 15 years ago. And the track is a completely different one, as I said before.
Yeah.
So parts that are flat today were never flat back in the day. So the car felt odd. And I thought, I'm just going to finish the lap. And then I had a puncture. In the most dangerous part, the foxhole where it's going down and there's a big there's a big compression to 89 kilometers an hour, which is how much? 210?
It's like 175.
Really? Only?
300 km is 180 miles an hour.
179.
I got that
Thank you
pretty
very much.
fucking close.
Yeah, but you played it down. It's not 175. It was 170.
I was off by 4.
Is it 179?
Divide 4 by 175. I don't know what percentage I was off by. That's
Oh,
less than 1%.
That's not, yeah, but is it 179 straight or is it
Wow.
Let's round up.
576,
Let's round
180?
up.
100 is important.
You're right.
our
It's
world.
It is.
6.2
It's
times it.
huge.
So you're right. You're right.
So 180 miles
It's
an
too
hour.
fast with the puncture.
Yes, right rear puncture, went off into the guardrail, went onto the roof, didn't go into the forest, into the trees, which was lucky.
Yeah.
And I slid 250 meters and stopped. Camera is still on. I'm stopping the car. It was on fumes. I'm deplugging my radio and I'm getting out of the car and you think everything is normal. And then they found me behind the guardrail with the helmet and the hands on, lying on my back like I was sleeping. And I have no recollection
Oh
of
my
that.
God.
So in the shock with the adrenaline, got myself out of the car.
No concussion though, because
A massive concussion.
Oh.
So
Massive
they found me there unconscious. And the ambulance came. They put me in the ambulance, and they were taking me to the local hospital there. Oxygen on, and the worrying bit was that I had an ache in my spine, and I started to feel tingling in my legs. And I thought, I can't believe that. I mean, Nikki was right.
Yeah.
And I'm going into the hospital. They put me in an X-ray on MRI and pull me out. And there's a nurse. And I'm saying, can you just please tell me whether my spine is damaged? And she says, I'm not authorized to give you that information.
That's not what you want to
Nope.
hear.
No.
Nope.
No. That means I'm going to go get someone to tell you your spine
Bad
is
news.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
injured. Yeah.
Or spinal cord. And I'm still having the tingling, but obviously you then make it up also. So
Yes.
the doctor...
Right now you're really feeling some tingling.
Yeah, now you feel
You're like,
really
I can't feel anything
numbness.
anymore.
Go to
Yeah.
move it.
Numbness.
Yeah. Oh my God, I can't move it.
Yeah. And so the doctor comes and he said, you're fine with the spinal cord, but you have some fractures in your vertebrae, compression fractures.
Whoa.
And I'm sorry to say, Mr. Wolff, but your eye, one of your eyes is tilting into the inside. So I had a view, how did they call it? View deviation. So because of the concussion, you know, when the eye does this, how do you call it in English?
Yeah, cross-eyed.
Cross-eye.
Yeah.
It was a concussion. So they got me into the Frankfurt neurology with a helicopter. They checked me again there and said, that is worrying. And we got to keep you here. And I said, no, I don't want to go. I want to go to Vienna. A friend of mine is a neurologist. So they said, well, you can't go to Vienna. The road is too fast and the airplane you can't fly because of the pressure. So the doctor that I had in Vienna jumped into a private jet.
Oh, wow.
Picked me up and we flew at 10,000 feet.
Oh, so
for
you didn't have to
2 hours.
pressurize
So I didn't have the pressure.
Oh, wow.
Came to Vienna and then that was the diagnosis. And I couldn't sleep on my back for 2 months because of the vertigo I got.
Oh my
spinning like you're
God.
fully drunk.
Wow.
And I lost long pre-COVID smelling and tasting. The nerves were damaged. It came back, but everything tastes like cardboard.
You were not
Wow.
with Susie yet. 2011, you got married?
Yes. So
this is 2 years before Susie.
that's how I met her, the accident actually. Because she was on a fitness camp with all the other Mercedes drivers. You know, she was an official Mercedes driver in touring cars.
She was also a development driver for Williams
That came
for
later.
F1. That was later.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she was on the fitness camp of the Mercedes fitness camp. And I was a shareholder in the touring car team back in the day, but we didn't know each other. And one of the drivers said, or there was a rumor between the drivers that Toto had a really bad accident. And they decided who would call me in a hospital. And they decided Susie would call me.
Okay.
She called me.
Okay. But you didn't know each other?
We
Or
didn't.
you just in passing?
We in passing.
Yeah.
And that's how we started.
What did she say?
Well, she said whether I was okay, and she heard about the accident, and we started talking, and it was a half an hour phone call, and yeah.
Now, let me just
So the accident
can I
was
paint
good.
a picture of
Meet
how
cute.
perfectly programmed Susie was to meet Toto. So Susie's dad owned a motorcycle shop in Scotland.
Okay. She's from Scotland.
She's Scottish. Her mom came in to buy a motorcycle, presumably in the 60s or 50s or something early for a woman to walk in and buy a
Yeah,
motorcycle.
she's cool.
So then the owner fell in love with her.
More the 70s. She would
70s?
be pretty upset if it was the 50s or 60s.
Okay, so
Sorry,
Thank you for
Sally, he
your-
didn't mean
all the
it. He didn't mean
egos.
it.
I was selfishly putting her at our age, which is she's just not. But if your mom and dad are motorcyclists and the dad races and then you race all growing up,
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, I recognize this. This is my dipshit dad. I think I love him.
Exactly. And you know, he raced in the Isle of Man,
No,
motorbikes.
no, he
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah, absolutely.
He did.
That's
On like a 2-stroke back in the day, or
I don't know, but it was the Isle of Man.
fuck that.
And that's why they got the kids into karting, because they felt that 2 wheels were too dangerous.
Oh, wowie.
But you know, Susie, karting champ, woman
don't
racer
know
of the year multiple times, one of the only women to ever drive an F1 car, development driver at Williams,
So cool.
driven in practices at F1. She's a bad MFer.
So your kids are like, there's no question, but they have to try this.
Well, we were just talking about that.
None of that for the elder ones.
Okay.
Benedict is 23. He studies in USC in Los Angeles.
Oh, amazing.
Oh, wait, your kid goes to school here?
Yeah, my daughter also.
Oh, we really should be friends then.
We should be.
We
I
got a
think.
great guest house.
Okay.
You saw the cars you can borrow. I know you're only legally allowed to drive that E63 wagon, but that's fine.
No, I drive all your vintage car. The truck would be exactly my car.
Oh, okay, great. Good
Yeah,
taste.
that's exactly. So the elder ones weren't interested at all. I remember when Benedict was 5 or 6, I took him to the local kart track in Vienna, and he said, I don't really want to do it. Can I go in the play park? And I thought, it's just a matter of getting him into the kart, and then I will love it. So I said, do a few laps. He said, 3 laps. Okay, 3 laps. So I was thinking, that's gonna, I'm sure it's gonna go well.
That's 2 extra laps. He only needs 1.
He
to
only-
fall in love.
exactly. He came in after 3 laps, and he said, that's it. Can I go to the play park? And it was clear he had no appetite.
Good for him.
But the small one is. I have a 7-year-old,
Yes.
and he's really into it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had the same experience. I tell my daughter, she already rides a dirt bike. I say to her, look, I'm not pressuring you, but if you want to race karts, I'll race old man class. We have a tour bus. Let's do this. You and I will go to races. And she's like, all right, let me try it. I take her to K1 and she goes out in a group with a bunch of young, it's under 12. And there's like 5 boys older than her.
Yeah.
And they're way faster than her. And she gets a little intimidated. And she comes off and she goes, I don't want to do this. And I go, okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to give her the childhood I was dreaming of. And you just have to let it go.
Maybe it comes back.
Well, now we're 11. We get into the situation you were in. So we'll resume the story. You're 18. You go to this thing and you're...
But 1 second for the 11-year-old. Susie and I are of the opinion that that can flip again. So Carlos Sainz, the old man, told me that Carlos had an accident when he was 6 or 7. They stopped racing because they all felt it was too dangerous. And a few years later, the son said, I want to go-kart. So I don't think that 11 per se is too late if a kid is really into it.
True.
They're more conscious. They are more able to learn. Yeah. You're still building your synapses. So I think that still goes. But
yeah. But you can at least relate. You go there, you got high hopes. This is going to be this wonderful thing we share. And they go, this isn't for me. This is your dream. And you go, okay.
It's disappointing.
Yeah. Now she's moved on to her mother's dream. She's doing musical theater.
She's doing musical theater. I would cry at either. When I watch her sing, I cry. And if she was winning races, I would cry, you know.
You're cheering now for musical theater. And whatever they do, we start to cheer for it.
You just want them to love something. I want them to love something. I don't care what it is. Just love something and chase it. That's all I want for you. I want you to be on the chase.
But maybe they're too young for loving something. You know, we're putting all this pressure on the young generation. You know, you got to have a passion and you got to have a real interest and you got to perform in school or at sports. And I think I let my kids be. And they're looking at Instagram and everybody's perfect. Everybody's a millionaire, has a sensational body.
They're on a boat all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so they're thinking, I'm inadequate. I'm letting them be. And my son, I feel now, is, you know, he's in his senior year. He's thinking about what to do next. And I'm taking all pressure off. Yeah. I say, you don't need to have a passion at 23 because I didn't. The motor racing was gone by 23. And I seriously didn't know what I was interested in apart from making money.
Had you gone to college at all?
Yeah, I was a dropout.
You were?
When the racing ended, I also dropped out of college. Said, I'm going to start working now and I want to be the youngest guy working. And I didn't care what it was. There wasn't anything like passion. One door opened, the other one closed, and another one opened, and another one opened. And I'm taking the pressure out by saying, don't look at me. This is my 52nd chapter. You're in the 23rd.
Right. I was more lost than you can imagine at your age. Relax, breathe.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Well, then that's my next mystery. So you pivot again, you race for a while, and you're good. You're not good enough to be an F1, and you're likely too big. As I tell everyone, the only reason I'm not racing for AMG is because I'm too tall.
We would be the ones with the earrings and championships under our belt. And, it's a shame, no?
It's rare you hear a tall guy complain about being tall.
Too tall, yeah.
For us.
This is the one time.
For us.
We all try to be small. No?
My shoulders are just too wide.
Oh, no.
No, you also,
so sorry.
Also your biceps. You know, the biceps would be a real problem.
But you pivot and you get into business. And as I understand it, and as the lore suggests, you start raising money for startups or tech, internet. That's kind of newish. There's a lot of opportunities. And what you start doing is going to companies and saying, I will help raise money for you, but I want some equity.
Exactly.
Why the fuck did they trust you to do that? You didn't have any equity of your own to bring to the table, I can't imagine.
So my friend and business partner since 30 years, Rene, was saying exactly that to me back in the day. Why the fuck should they give you equity? But I still
don't deserve it.
And what do you know about IPOs?
Right.
So I still went there and probably, you know, for whatever reason, convinced them and said, there is no downside for you. If I'm not raising the money for you or we're not IPOing your company, then you're not giving any shares to me.
You're like an agent, kind of. Yeah. If it works out, give me 10%.
Exactly. That was my selling story.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Okay. Have you started to acknowledge the gift you and I were given? This has hit me over the last 5 years. As things have been explained to me and I've changed my opinions on things, Like I grew up, I was brought home to a single wide trailer. Ton of violent stepdads, addiction all through the family. It was a rough go. So when I heard white privilege, I was like, what privilege? What privilege did I have? Sure, some white kids have a lot of privilege, but I didn't have any. I was stuck on that. And then I had this moment of clarity where I was like, well, I was a fully functioning addict for 10 years. I drove around the city all the time with Coke in my car. I was drunk half the time. I interacted with police. And I went, oh, that's the privilege. If I were black, I would be in prison for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
End of story. I would be shot. I didn't talk to police with the right amount of respect. There's no way. And I was like, okay, yeah, I do have a ton of privilege. I've just now come to own the fact that like being 6'2" is a lot of it. I've directed movies. I've gone into studios and said, give me $30 million. You can trust me. I'll lead this group of 100 people into this end zone you believe I can do. And a lot of it is I'm just tall.
It looks like confidence.
Yes.
So first of all, we know each other for 45 minutes. You have aura, charisma, you're convincing, you're intelligent. That are the USPs. Or this is your character. Maybe it gives you credibility of being tall, but I have seen pretty successful men that were tiny.
Christian Horner.
Yeah, he's more he's more square. But I think he's laughing about that.
I like Horner. I interviewed him. I had a good time.
Well, let's not go too far, but I think he can laugh about it. So there is tiny men that I have met who were very powerful and successful. Look at Bernie Ecclestone.
Yeah. Well, F1's littered with tiny men who are powerful and successful. The drivers.
Yeah, many that are failed drivers and saw the humiliation of not being good enough. There's not many successful drivers that made a success out of a management career.
Yeah.
I think you're reducing yourself to your height or to your physical.
Okay. I think it's in the mix. I think it's one of the gifts I was given.
Well, I think it's made you feel confident. It's had that impact. And so then you exude confidence, and that's compelling to people, I think.
Chicken or egg, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I will say with the privilege thing, though, I think privilege is not the right word. I mean, it's like the easy thing that's been spread around, but it's more benefit of the doubt. It's like white benefit of the doubt, really, is what it is.
I'm going to assume this kid's not high on drugs. And I'm going to assume,
I think if you go back to a white trailer and you have abuse and alcohol, you had a rough upbringing, and that is part of your trauma and your humiliation that's shaped you. I think that addiction certainly is a self-destruction phenomenon, in my opinion, or because it's just fun.
Have you had any pull towards that? What's your relationship with alcohol?
So obviously everybody was into alcohol at a certain stage, and that worked really well for me.
Yeah.
So
it's fun. When it works, it's fun.
Exactly. So I was never kind of into drugs. In my school, everybody would smoke joints. I didn't smoke any cigarettes. Everybody smoked cigarettes as well. So I felt that it never worked. Obviously, you got munchkins and you were giggling a lot, but I felt it doesn't work for me. But there was an incident that we were in an apartment of a friend of mine, 16 years old. And so the whole purpose of the Saturday nights was, smoking a water pipe or whatever. Yeah. So we did all of that, didn't give me a lot. And then I left the apartment and walked about 10 minutes to the subway station. Down in the subway station, and there's these yellow lines where you wait for the subway for the metro to come. And I stood there, realized I didn't have any shoes on.
Oh, wow.
So I am walking back into the apartment, ringing at the door. This stoned friend of mine opens the door, and I'm saying, I forgot my shoes. And that made their night. They were laughing it off. So it had an effect. But I was too scared of the rest. I was too scared. I was already mentally fragile, and I was scared that it would leave me in a dark place. That's why I never kind of dived into it. Yeah. But we tried a lot.
Oh, another reason we might not be seeing eye to eye on the height thing is yours came really late, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a big distinction.
You mean growing late?
I've been this size since I was 12.
Okay. No, with me it was catastrophic. I was 180, which is 6 foot, and my weight was 100 pounds.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
So that was pretty bad.
That was me in high school.
String beans.
Yeah. We weren't very attractive for the girls.
No, I had a huge nose, a terrible haircut. I was so skinny and tall. It was rough.
Same for me, yeah.
Yeah.
So more humiliation.
Do you identify with being handsome? Like when people tell you you're handsome, do you accept that that's reality? Or do you still think, I think you're confused?
I think you're confused. You too?
Isn't that wild? Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm an ugly duckling from high school. No one liked me.
But that's maybe why you're trying to, you're working out, you're trying to compensate that because you're really not believing in that.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I don't want to look at myself too much because that is vain and narcissistic, but we still do.
Yeah.
But
We're human.
I look at you enough. I follow Susie's Instagram, and she's really generous. There'll be pictures of you wakeboarding, pictures of you holding the kid over your head on the beach. She's helping us out.
But she would never post like a swim trunk photo or so because for her that's ridiculous. And I'm a grown-up man and I shouldn't do the Instagram thing of racing drivers, of showing off. But
she's keeping you humble.
she does. And we have fun at home when you're in front of the mirror and you're doing some stupid posing.
Yeah.
And she says, that's really turning me off. Don't do that.
Yeah, she's
I'm
direct.
glad you have her. That's good.
It's good. We learned pretty early that our family life is only good if our marriage is good. Mm-hmm. So when you look at the way she talks about herself, number one is wife. Number two is being a mother. And that's very unusual.
Yeah.
And the career comes third.
Right.
So she would say, need to work. I want to have my own career. But if I had to compromise on number one and number two, I wouldn't compromise.
Nor I.
Nor me.
I wouldn't do it either.
No, she's such a good manager or entrepreneur. I think she could do much more. And she could base herself in London or so. And she says, I don't want it. And I'm saying to her, if you were to have a career in motorsport and you were conflicted with me, I would step out of an executive role. It's anyway a lot at the moment and, become a dormant shareholder.
Yeah.
But she says, let's look at the big picture here. I think we got to rely on you.
You have to be realistic about who can do what.
Yeah.
There's been moments in our marriage where we should prioritize her career. It's generating much more money. And then there's been times where mine's generating more money. So we got to prioritize mine.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you have to be realistic.
And I was also put off, when you're following this cliche of being with a model or so.
I'm embarrassed for those guys.
Yeah, me too.
I am. I see them and I go, where's the personality? Where's the challenge? This is embarrassing for you.
But I think you need to go through that. And first of all, they're never yours alone because they seek recognition as well.
Yeah, exactly.
If a girl stares at her own pictures on the computer, that's a warning sign for me. So too much. Staring too much.
Yes. There's a healthy version.
You say that all the time about like not wanting models but you did try it.
Oh, yeah. I attempted to raise my own self-esteem through other women. And I didn't like myself anymore when I looked in their mirror and I was over and I was like, oh, this doesn't work. I can't absorb their high status. I'm trying to, but I can't.
I'm not following that cliche. And when I see men, like you say, said, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm like,
a friend of mine, he got together with this beautiful lady and he was very famous and she left him now. And Susie was very pragmatic to him. He said, what did you expect?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What did you think was at the end of this?
Yeah, exactly.
For people who don't know a lot about F1, and obviously this podcast is largely women and not F1 fans, although we've turned a lot of people into F1 through Danny Ricciardo.
Yeah, we love
Daniel and I are really good friends, and he's been on a bunch of times.
I wear his merchandise.
It's the greatest.
He is great.
Enchanté. He comes.
So
he brings me that stuff.
It's great. Monica
so
wears
cool.
it too.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
super cool.
He has a very great eye. He's a great eye. He's a wonderful dude.
Talk about charm.
Oh my!
So
and he's always so positive.
Yes.
How this ended is a real shame. How they didn't give him the platform because he's done so well.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's the end of his career. The style that he has with his fashion collection.
He's going to be fine.
He's going to be fine for sure.
Yeah.
So for people who don't know, Formula One is 23 races and it's all over the world. And not only is it all over the world, it is not planned with any seeming logic. So it's like you'll be in the Middle East one race and then the very next race you're in Europe, then you're in the US, then you're in Asia. You live 7, 8, 9 months of the year, weekly adjusting your sleep schedule by 12 hours sometimes. I don't know how that's manageable. How many miles a year do you fly?
I don't know miles, but it's about 600 hours.
How are you managing your sleep? What is your routine? I want to hear about how you exercise. You've got a gorgeous physique.
Oh,
it's gorgeous.
But it's not on your level.
No, it's gorgeous, especially considering your schedule. I've talked about it with my friend Charlie, who owns a CrossFit gym. He is an Adonis. And we both go, the other route to go would be Toto, which is like, this guy's clearly an athlete. He's not bulky, but he's lean. It's
That's
a
the
look.
body
That's what
most women
Monica,
like.
that's what everyone likes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
preferred. This is for other guys.
Yeah, that's a man-to-man thing.
Yes.
Women
This is still
like-
insecurities from junior high.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he has a more intellectual angle if you're not too bulky.
Yeah,
But you're not bulky either.
What do you do for your physical fitness, for your diet? I learned this about, we both do this. Anytime I learned something, we did the same thing. I loved it. One was, I eat the exact same meal every single day, but I want to hear about what you eat, how you deal with your sleep, and what's your exercise routine, and what is your kind of mental health approach to the highest pressure job someone could have.
So let's start with the last one, because that's most important. For me, I am more at risk of a bore out than a burnout. But that sounds like, okay, I think of myself. For me, stress is where I'm most comfortable. But it is. But unfortunately, it's only a coping mechanism. I would love to sit on a stool in a coffee shop in Greece or Sicily and not do anything and read a newspaper, but I can't. My mind is too busy.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
The more pressure I have, the better I feel.
Yeah.
That's my real comfort zone. I had to take decisions at the age of 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I never think about it. I go in a restaurant, I look at the menu, it takes 10 seconds. So I only have to wear the same clothes. Louis thinks about me, I'm the most boring fashion guy.
Well, he's very fashionable.
You guys are
Yeah.
fun opposites.
Yeah, it is.
We are very fun opposites.
Yeah.
It is fun.
It's an
cool
odd
story,
couple. It's a great
yeah.
odd couple.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
hates everything I wear. He hates the most my shoes that are coming from a tailor in Vienna. He doesn't take any more clients, and I'm showing them, and he says, "This is the ugliest pair of shoes that I have ever seen." But that's part of simplification. I wear the same trousers, the same shoes in every color, blue, beige, gray suits. It's all the same. So I'm not thinking too much when I'm packing.
Yeah.
But in terms of the mental health, I think as long as I have to solve problems, I'm really in a good space.
Mm-hmm.
When it's calm and comfortable, I can take it for 10 days,
Yeah.
like a holiday or so. I start to not feel well at all. It's not like I want to be busy, but it's like I'm going into a darker place because it needs the balance.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized we took a holiday in Sardinia, which is a beautiful place, for 3 days in July, mid-season. And I remember floating on my back in the sea, in the azure water, and I thought, I feel so great.
Yeah.
We went to the same place for 3 weeks holiday.
3 weeks.
I never felt that good. And it got worse and worse.
I tell my wife, I'm like, I'll go anywhere, I'll do anything, but like every other day, I got to get in the car on the island and go explore.
Exactly.
I got to do something novel. I got to stimulate. I got to meet some people.
Look at people. I don't want to necessarily speak to people, but I want to be in the middle and look at them. And
a piazza in Italy.
yeah.
I can
best
do
place.
that for 7 hours
Exactly.
for dinner.
A few cappuccini. And look at them and think about who are they, what's
Yeah.
their
What's their
life.
Life.
What's
Is it
going
as
on with
romantic as it
them?
looks?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But not talk. I don't want to talk with them.
Okay, I'll do the talking.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you guys go on your buddy
Yeah,
travels.
motorcycle
you can
trip.
talk. And I'm listening. I think we're a good combo.
So the mental health. When you're on the road and you are in the middle of the season, do you have a checklist?
I tried all sorts of meditation, transcendental meditation, Ayurvedic meditation, then with a mantra, mindfulness, breathing, Jacobson. I did all of that. Doesn't work for me because it's too calm. Trying to calm my mind
Yeah.
doesn't work. I need the opposite. I need activities that stress me. That's why racing a car is so fun, because there's nothing else you can think about.
Yeah.
I like going to the gym and go ballistic. So I can't breathe anymore. I'm into free diving.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I do lots of that because there's
Because
nothing.
you saw the Deep Blue, the Luc Besson movie as a kid?
Le Grand Bleu, the long version. Did you see the long version?
Yes, of course. Jean Reno and
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. So I do this. I got George and Louis into free diving also.
Really?
Yeah.
what's the farthest you've
35
meters.
115 feet.
Yeah.
So I'm not using weight. It's just swimming down myself.
Okay.
And Netflix made quite a thing there's an episode of George in Drive to Survive next.
Yeah.
So we went free diving. They had a full camera crew, 2 boats, divers in the water, scuba
Safety.
divers to look at us and do all of the filming, mainly for George. So I'm the semi-pro and we're doing this first dive with the world champion that is coaching us. And the first dive is an accommodation dive. So you go 5-10 meters, your body gets used to it. So the mind says, okay, we are here in apnoe mode. We need to hold the breath and manage our energy level. So I'm doing my accommodation dive, 25 meters, 75 feet. And I'm going down at 10 meters and I feel so great. So I'm thinking I'm going to go all the way down. I'm going all the way down. It's easy. I feel a little bit of a pressure in my right ear. Pang, I do my eardrum. First shitty dive, the whole Netflix thing is gone.
You look like a chump.
Like a jump. George does his 3 meters, 7 meters, and by the end he was at 25 as well. So yeah, that wasn't my greatest moment. But free diving is great because you can't think about anything else.
Yeah, the exact same story, but a little different. They wanted to do a story on me for some TV show, and they said,
that
Maybe
must be
it's a
kid.
child.
this is great.
Benedict, my son.
Oh, wonderful.
Answer
Let's
it.
see what he's up to. Tell him you're in Los Feliz.
Hi, Benchke. I'm in a podcast, really fun one. You want to speak to
Ask
the
him if
guy,
he's heard of
Dax,
it.
if you-
Armchair Expert.
Armchair Expert. He knows it. He looked at it because I said to him, can you check out
Tell
that I
me
should
if
be
this
doing
is a
it?
good
Make
idea.
sure it's
Pass you
good.
over. You're in the podcast, okay?
Wow, Dax, you're
Benedict.
getting everyone.
Benedict? Oh, I'm good. This is Dax. You're going to USC? Yeah. And what are you majoring in? In business. You didn't get pulled towards film and television?
I did not.
I don't
Good for
know
him.
if I
Good for him.
like this. I don't know if that was the right move.
Oh boy.
My sister was in the car. She's doing comms.
She's doing comms. But what's your name?
I'm Rosie.
Hi, Rosie. We've got a whole plan laid out. Your dad's going to start spending a ton of time here in LA at my guest house. So obviously you guys will be in the mix quite a bit. You're living downtown. You're Benedict, you're doing everything wrong.
No, let
No,
him be.
You need to be
He's
in Los
doing
Feliz.
great.
You need to major in film directing, and
Jesus
you need to live in Los Feliz, and we got to get you straightened out. And I know we're running out of time. This is your senior year. All right, I'm going to turn you over to your dad now. Your dad's getting frustrated. This is his time and not your time.
Hey, nein, ich komm da in die Nähe vom Dax.
Wie viel kostet dein Pulli?
Bye-bye.
That's the one phrase Dax knows.
What is the,
How much does your shirt cost? Wie viel kostet dein Pulli?
we've costed them Pulli, yeah. Why?
Wann hast
Hold
du
on,
deinen
I'm
Geburtstag?
sending them the address.
Okay, great. Okay, you need to be stimulated. What about sleep? How on earth do you deal with that?
Yeah, so we had a NASA doctor that gave us sleep plans and say, this is how you accommodate for jet lag, because obviously astronauts, they have many times in 24 hours, I don't know how many times they have a sunset and a sunrise.
Every hour and a half. They're going 17,500 miles an hour around a 24,000 mile object.
Yeah, so they need to sleep somehow.
Yeah.
And the truth is our eyes react to daylight.
Yeah.
And so we were wearing shades when we took off, even if it was day in the airplane. We were eating breakfast at 4 o'clock in the afternoon because it was breakfast time in Japan. Lots of these things. But now, after many years in the sport, I changed my thinking and what I do, and that is I just don't care.
You don't stress about it.
I don't stress about it. I sleep wherever I can. In the plane, I sleep, or when I'm awake, I'm not looking at the time zone of arrival. I arrive and it's daylight or night, and I try to sleep. And if not, I'm taking a little bit of a melatonin, or we have also a sleeping pill if you work the next day.
Yeah.
Not the heavy stuff. And it's only fall asleep pill. It's not the one that puts you into coma.
Yeah.
Right. Or makes you get up and make a grilled cheese
It's
in the
not
middle of the
ambient.
night. And
Yeah,
not know.
so
Yeah.
uncontrollable stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Walk to the subway with your shoes off.
Yeah, and when you're like, and you can't
Well, I might
pronounce
take
it.
a second one of these.
Yeah. I was in Japan with Susie and we were in this hotel in Tokyo. And I woke up in the middle of the night and couldn't sleep. So I took half of a sleeping pill. And she gets up and I said, why are you getting up in the middle of the night? And she says, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. And I was, fuck, I just took a sleeping pill.
Oh, no.
She did all the sightseeing. I slept for the whole day. I sleep when I sleep. I'm awake when I'm awake. But I follow my nutrition discipline in a very, very strict way.
I know breakfast is 2 pieces of pumpernickel toast, extra crispy, tomato, cheese?
No tomato, ham.
Ham.
Oh.
And an espresso and a sparkly water.
I don't do it anymore.
What don't you do?
I don't do breakfast anymore.
Oh,
That's
no.
done.
Yeah, that's done. I do a cappuccino.
No breakfast.
No breakfast because I feel like that is useless calories.
Yeah.
I'm not hungry anyway. The cappuccino is a little
Stimulant.
treat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It does me feel a little bit sick afterwards, so I'm not hungry.
Yeah. The right amount of nausea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I'm having lunch and dinner. And for lunch, wherever I am on the racetrack, I only eat the same. And that is chicken breast, some vegetable, tomato, and I treat myself to half a glass of full sugar Coca-Cola. That's good for digestion.
Okay. Half a glass of regular Coca-Cola.
Yeah, not your half-pregnant Diet Coke.
Right. You're disgusted by that.
Yeah.
You're smarter than Bill Gates and I, but continue.
You got me on that one. Dinner, try to do lean protein, but then I can indulge as well. If I see something really nice on the menu, or if the local food is marvelous, then I will have some of
Big
the local.
plate of pasta when you're at Monza.
Yeah, the pasta is.
Do you drink wine?
No.
No wine. No alcohol.
No, I don't drink wine. I don't drink beer because of the gluten. It doesn't do me any well. If I'm drinking alcohol, then it's full blast vodka.
Uh-huh.
That's the Romanian in you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Polish.
Yeah, Polish.
Because you don't drink huge amounts, and
Yeah.
after like 20 minutes, you're already having fun.
Yep.
The liquid is not huge, and you're not mixing. So I don't feel sick. I don't feel bad next day.
Hungover. Yeah.
Hungover.
Nice.
Okay, I have just a couple of remaining questions. These are just curiosities. March 15, March 16, these are the names of your 2 companies. Are those people's birthdays?
No, that was the day I set the company up, so I wasn't very creative. So I said, why don't we do the date today?
Okay.
So I never
and then just
thought
by
about it.
coincidence in 2004, it happened to be March 16?
No, I took the next date. So it
Okay,
felt
so
like
it had a reason at the beginning and then it didn't have a reason at the end.
Yeah.
Breakfast we talked about.
Yeah, working out because you're a gym person. Going to the gym. I'm not a cardio person. Are you a cardio person?
I hike. That's the extent of
Yeah.
my cardio.
Yeah, that's
I
fun.
can't get on a treadmill. I can't jog.
Cycling.
Cycling.
No, we're too tall for bicycles. We're looking like huge gorillas on this tiny little thing.
Even me on the race motorcycle, I look ridiculous. People comment when I post pictures, I think I look so cool. And they're like, is that a normal size bike?
Exactly.
It's a normal size bike.
Exactly. And we're not good with aerodynamics as well. So we have a deficit against everybody else.
Yes. But under braking, it's good. If I sit up, I
Yeah,
pull a
that's
lot
true.
of drag. Yeah.
Like Valentino Rossi, you put your leg out also to balance.
Were you there the day that Valentino and Lewis swapped?
No, but I had to give permission.
You did.
Yeah, so I gave it and I think they both enjoyed it a lot. Lewis is, the annoying kid in school that does everything right and fast.
He was quite good on the bike.
Yeah, so I tell you a story about biking. Secretly, they didn't tell me. They went testing in Jerez with my head of strategy, who is also a keen motorbike guy and one of the engineers. And I couldn't get hold of him for 2 days. And then I'm calling Lewis, my engineer picks up and he says, it's all good, all is fine. We just finished biking and just whatever you hear, he's all fine.
Uh-oh.
I said,
boy.
what happened?
Oh my
Whatever
God.
He fell.
Fell.
But he was 4 seconds off the MotoGP pros only.
No.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
No.
The body feeling that he has is what makes him a champion.
But in that doc, Valentino's my God. I mean, that is number one. People have Jordan. I have Valentino Rossi, the doctor, 46. He's everything. The spirit of him. He's so elegant. Everything's so great. He was not terribly far off Lewis in the car. I thought what he did in the car was kind of mind-blowing.
I think for motorbike guys, it's easier to drive a
Yes.
car fast than for car people because it's just so much more complicated with, balance on the bike.
I think the braking on a motorcycle takes some real work.
Yeah.
But my favorite part of that doc is Valentino
What
Rossi.
doc?
There's this great documentary where these two come together. They're both Monster Energy athletes, so I think it was sponsored by Monster. And Valentino gets to drive his F1 car / Toto's F1
Oh,
car.
I see.
And then Lewis rode Valentino's MotoGP
boy.
bike, which is a fucking handful. This is like a 320 pound
But he did
horsepower
great.
one.
Okay.
Goes much faster than a car, but doesn't brake because obviously you have no contact.
Oh my God.
And the corner speed's lower. But yeah, they're going 225 miles an hour at every track. It's nuts. But anyways, Valentino Rossi, he's got the cutest personality imaginable. And he is a Formula One nerd. He's been watching and he loves Lewis and he loves Bono, Lewis's race engineer, who's always in his ear. So he's been watching for years and he's hearing Bono say to Lewis, push, push, push. So Valentino gets in the car and he goes, hello, Bono? And he goes, yes, Valentino. And he goes, will you tell it to me? A push, push, push. And Bono says push, push, push. And he's like, ah!
He's been waiting his whole life for
Yes,
that.
it was the purest moment.
was
God,
I was
isn't it funny though? You can be the absolute best at what they do, the
They're
top
both
of their
the best
field. They're
ever statistically.
phenoms, and yet they want to do something. They want to be the best at something else. Like we are not satisfied as people. It is crazy.
No.
But they are from a special breed also that never satisfied.
Yes.
No,
It's
never
real.
satisfied.
I mean, I guess that's how you get to be those people.
Yeah, I hope I'm saying anything that would be important for him, intimate. He asked me once, you'd rather be successful or happy?
We have talked about this too.
And I said, what is it with you? And he said, successful.
You want to hear verbatim one of my questions to you?
Yeah.
Are there certain endeavors that are inherently antithetical to mental health? The goal of a healthy human should be to feel worthy of love and affection regardless of their status or accomplishments. But that simply cannot be the goal of a person pursuing victory or perfection. How do we make peace with that? Your human goals are antithetical to almost your career goals. As a human, what we would strive for is that I'm worthy of love and affection just because I exist. But in racing and business, it's not that. That's not the rules of the game. So you're balancing what you want as a human and then also what you want as someone engaged in an endeavor.
But there are people that are really happy with their lives and they don't thrive for being in some kind of record books. Whatever our KPIs are, our various KPIs, yours of the two of you will be very different in what you want to achieve to mine specifically.
Was your answer happiness or was it success?
Since a few years, they are converging. Before it was success only.
Yeah.
You're also 16 years older than Lewis?
12.
12.
Yeah.
That's
He's
our
my
gap.
age. Yeah.
Well, he's 2 years older than you.
Oh, got
40 in January.
it. Ooh, couple days.
Yeah, Capricorn.
Three
Didn't know
Capricorns.
that. I'm not into birthday. I forgot my wife's
Geburtstags?
Geburtstag. I forgot my wife's birthday.
Oh,
no.
that's not a good.
Yeah.
Nope.
So we were in a hotel in Stuttgart. We are coming down in the lobby. There is my team waiting for us, and they're all happy birthday, Susie. And I was like,
Oh, no.
so everybody looked at me because they know I'm not good with these dates. Every day needs to be a birthday. Why need to celebrate that you're already older than you are?
I couldn't agree more. I think it's embarrassing to have birthday parties. All of it's embarrassing.
But I get that you're celebrating that you're still alive. Maybe that's the reason.
Yeah.
So she's looking at me and she laughs and said, I had it all prepared for the afternoon. I had this.
That's what you said. Wait till you see what's coming in noon. And you're texting someone on your team.
Yeah.
Help!
No, I got a card. So, but she knows me. So we have a weird age gap of this 12 years. But it's more that the gap is more like not a dad and son. It's more like brothers.
It's not father-son?
No. We are much more peers, friends than father-son. We can vice versa play different roles if the other one needs the support or difficult periods.
I don't want to ask you this question because I don't think you're going to like it, but it crossed my mind. Was there any part of you that was relieved that Lewis decided to leave and that you never had to make that decision?
Absolutely.
You couldn't make that decision.
I couldn't make the decision from a personal standpoint. We owe him so much. And I didn't want to do the decision as Mercedes, letting the greatest champion ever go.
It's so disrespectful.
And maybe he felt that also. That's part of it. And he knew that Antonelli is in in the pipeline. It was something that I almost had in the back of my mind that would happen.
Yeah, I think it's heartbreaking, but I also think it's the best version of what could have happened.
Yeah, it was a curveball thrown at us, and it still feels weird that he's going to wear a Ferrari overall next year and drive the red car. It's just a bit surreal.
Yeah.
But we had this 17-year-old in the pipeline. I didn't want to miss out on him like I did with Max back in the day. I didn't have a car.
Yeah.
So that is all falling into place.
Yeah.
And I can kind of get where he's coming from because we weren't successful. Our car was not quick enough. Certainly he had a mega offer on the table. Every Formula One driver wants to drive a Ferrari.
I think that's it for me.
Yeah.
Like, as someone who loved someone, even if I wanted them in my life still, I would understand, like, yeah, that's what Schumacher did. That's what you do.
I want the best for him, even though I'm going to aim for him that we beat him next year. But I want the best for him also from a personal side.
I had a little fantasy when he left that you were somehow going to get Adrian Newey and Max.
Yeah.
You're like, me too. I also had that fantasy.
So what can I say without
You can't say shit, but
yeah, I think on the engineering side, I'm really happy where we are. We are not having the success on track that we would want to. We had 3 race victories this year, 2 unmarried. But I feel in a really happy space with James Allison being our technical director. We are reorganizing the team. We've hired. We have let some people go. Yeah. So that's what I'm happy. And on drivers, yours, Max and I, we always had a correct relationship. It suffered a bit in 2021 because it got dirty from both sides.
Mm-hmm. Also, it sucks. You were on the inside of it, so it's not as pleasurable. On the outside, what a year.
What a year, yeah.
What a fucking year.
And it's part of the success we're having today. It was really dramatic. And I remember on the Christmas table, the topic that nobody wanted to touch on many Christmas tables was Trump, Brexit, and Abu Dhabi 2021.
Right.
So
I've been in many fights my own. I have a single question about that event.
Can we give some context for people who don't know?
The most improbable thing happened, which is in 2021, Max and Lewis entered the final race tied at 235.5 points. Something like this. It's 0.5. It's like
impossible.
It's impossible. And a half point somehow.
Yeah.
Add up the improbability that he has 2,500 employees making a car. Red Bull has 2,000 employees. You have all those variables, different designs, 2 different human beings.
Yeah.
They're finishing every single qualifying within 100th of a second of it. There's too many variables for it's impossible. Now you add in through all this dramatic season, there were points taken away, there were laps given back, there was judgment calls. They land at 235.5. It's not possible. The race goes on. Max is not going to win. He is behind 3 cars that have been lapped. Is it 3 or 4 or something like that? There's an accident. The race goes under safety car, so everyone's bunched up. Now, here's my question. As I understand it, and I could be totally wrong, they unlap cars that have been passed. So like the person between Max and Lewis, they're number 1 and 2, but there's 3 cars in there, but they're in spots 18, 19, and 20. So the rules, as I understand them, is that under a safety car, the cars in between are allowed to unlap themselves. So they're allowed to go out in front of the lead car and join the back of the pack where they belong.
I see. Okay.
But what's really weird is that they don't unlap them right away. That to me is like, this is the problem. It's not like who did what. It's like, they should have been unlapped right away. Mm-hmm. They weren't. Mm-hmm. So 4 laps goes by, and then they make a decision with 1 lap left to let them unlap.
Okay.
Max is on brand new tires. Lewis is on 13 lap old tires. The safety car pulls up, and Max passes him within 2 turns, and he wins the championship. Whoa. It would have been Lewis's 8th championship, which would have made him surpass Schumacher. The stakes could not have paused. I mean, the drama of it is it'll never get better. Now, my question, and when I've been in arguments with people, I'm like, are you saying that they don't unlap cars? Or are you saying in that situation they shouldn't have unlapped cars?
So the strict interpretation of the rules is you need to unlap the cars and make them join at the back. So take 1 box. We win the championship, it's clear because there's not enough laps left. Yeah. And the race finishes under safety car.
Yeah.
The second version is once you make the cars unlap, you need 1 more lap before green flag. We win the championship.
Oh.
The third one was more of an outlier against the rules, but we could understand is give it the last lap. So you have a green flag lap and not behind a safety car. Then Lewis would have won because there was a few cars in between.
Well, that's
So
questionable.
3 or 4 cars in between.
Max potentially could have got by them, and I don't know.
But was anyway not part of the rule.
Yeah.
We couldn't have pitted for fresh tires because we were in the lead. We would have given up position.
That's right.
And then the race would have ended up on the yellow or safety car, so we would have lost the race.
Yeah.
So 5 laps to the end, we are world champions. There is no scenario that wouldn't
You've
have
won.
done. We've won.
Yeah.
One I can see in the garage already. And then someone decides the world championship should end with a lap. And what you say, unlapping those cars in the middle is unheard of. Both drivers were deserving champions because of the up and down during the season. And probably both of them should have been world champions.
I'll argue too, you had a better card than Red Bull that year.
At the end, not the first half of the year.
Right.
I think Lewis was the stronger driver in the second half. Max was in the first half. And the same with the cars. Both of them, they should have both had the trophy. But on that day, in that race, the race was decided and it fell the other way.
This is the most controversial thing in all of F1 of the last.
Yeah, and probably in most sports.
Wow.
Because that was so clear that the referee decided to do something which was not in the rule book.
Yeah.
Not even a judgment call, but just not in the rule book. But having said that, it was more like the madness of it.
Yeah, the chaos and the
chaos.
confusion.
Exactly. And I felt that the other side, and that's not Max, but there was not a one sentence in saying that was a difficult day for Mercedes.
Yeah.
We kind of
That
acknowledged
could have gone either way. We got lucky.
They're both deserving champions. Today it went against Mercedes. It went against us before.
Yeah.
There was not one word from Christian or the other team in acknowledging that.
Yeah.
It was like entitlement.
I'm guessing, though, because it was so disputable, that to even say that sentence would have felt like it could have tipped it. I don't know.
We would have said it.
Yeah, it would have been the right thing to do.
Yeah.
There's humans at the end of all of this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I entered the sport through Drive to Survive.
Did you?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
I was like, this is boring. They don't pass each other. What is this racing? Who cares? And then when I learned what's happening technically, I was like, oh, this is way more in depth and interesting than it seems on the surface.
And I think the drama helped the sport also.
yeah.
Drive to Survive happened when everybody was at home. And believe it or not, our strongest growing demographic is young females, 15 to 24-year-old.
Yeah, because there's all these hot boys driving around.
Is that the reason? We don't know really why.
It's part of it, for sure.
It doesn't hurt.
It's definitely part
Charles
of it.
is a supermodel. Danny was the cutest guy in the world.
Yeah,
Lewis
Saints.
is gorgeous. They're all
gorgeous.
There's only a couple duds in the whole group out of 20 guys. That's
yeah.
And the women they're like, that's my guy. That's my guy.
There's something for everyone, no?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Also, that show is just so well done.
Yeah, they do it very
really
well.
get you invested.
Now, that was one of my questions. I'm keeping you too long, but
No, don't worry. We were on the phone for quite a while. So
you're a very smart person. You're also very incentivized because you own a third of the team. You're experiencing this from a lot of different viewpoints. You're a team principal. You got to win, but you're also an owner. And so I think you naturally saw that when Liberty Media came in and bought this and they expressed this goal of making the entertainment more present and the sport, but bringing the entertainment up. I've heard you talk about it and you're like, initially we were like, that's a little scary. But I think you're a business owner and this worked. I mean, fuck. The first time I went to COTA, the race weekend was 120,000 and it was 440 last weekend.
single biggest event in the United States last year. Who would have ever thought that a Formula One race?
It 4x'd.
Yeah.
So you, at some point, in the first year, Mercedes and Ferrari didn't participate in Drive to Survive.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
And then...
It was a blessing in disguise for the sport because so many other personalities were featured.
True.
Definitely.
We wouldn't have had
Danny.
we wouldn't have had Danny. We wouldn't have had Gunter. We wouldn't have had...
It was
Esteban
huge
was
for
big.
Danny.
Yeah, it was a blessing. We got to learn a lot about a lot of other drivers. But at some point, you're smart enough and incentivized enough that you go, okay, great. So I get it. This entertainment thing's kind of working. And now you too have to assume a character in this soap opera. And I'm wondering, A, how easy that was for you to take on. I've been to races and been in the paddock and watched you walk around. Like you're a full-blown movie star at that race. You're on your scooter and people are excited. Having to be a character in the soap opera, how has that been?
So I think one of the features of myself and what I'm looking up to in other people is authenticity. We kind of feel when somebody is not authentic, you know, and even if you're intellectually not capable or you're not thinking about it, when you watch someone on telly or in a movie or you meet someone, instinctively you say, I don't like that person or I like the person. And for me, there's a lot of correlation with being authentic. And I don't want to walk away from that. So whatever I do, whether the cameras or the microphone points to me, I'm trying to always be authentic and not act for the cameras.
Right.
Super important.
Yeah, that's hard though.
Very.
It's super hard. Yeah.
It is. It's tempting. It's right there.
Yeah, that's why we didn't play at the first season with Ferrari. I didn't want all of my people to be distracted by a camera and then suddenly
Performing,
look good
yeah.
and perform. And so,
Distracting.
yeah, of course, a camera points on you.
Yeah.
So I never do that. But you understand that the show is so successful that there is a lot more visibility of yourself in Formula One that has happened. For me, the kind of status in terms of media visibility happened very late in my life. You know, probably when I was 45, 46. So I see it with a certain skepticism, surprise. Why would people wanting to take a selfie with me? And I look at the benefits.
Yeah, like why is Brad Pitt? I could show you right now exchanges between me and Brad Pitt talking about you.
Seriously.
I'm going to take full credit for this in front of you. He and I love MotoGP. I watched Drive to Survive. I text him, watch this documentary. Text me when you've finished. I know it'll be within 24 hours. He texts me in 16 hours. This is incredible. I'm so in. Next is he befriends Lewis. I'm learning that he's going and hanging out with Lewis. And then I said, yeah, but let's talk about Toto. And he said, listen, I have this text. This is going to kill you. Toto's also a great dancer.
Where did he get
He was
that from?
somewhere and he saw you dancing and he's like, you're not going to believe this.
That's
Toto's
quite-
also a great dancer. I'm like, oh, fuck, this guy's got it all.
Wow.
Like, yeah, you have Brad Pitt is completely enamored by you. That's a very weird turn of events at 45.
Yeah, absolutely. So I generally am not starstruck. And I admire people that are really good in what they do independently, whether they are famous or not. But there was this moment when they started the documentary, they were interested in my role. And I think Javier Bardem plays a little bit of a Toto as a team owner and team principal. By the way, a super guy, curious, interested. We're talking about this and we are agreeing on dinner at our house in Oxford. It rings at the doorbell. Brad Pitt walks into the house.
Yeah.
Oh my
It
God.
fucks you up, right? I mean, it's...
Yeah. It's like...
It's another thing.
He's not human. He's like, it's a different
it's a deity.
thing.
Yeah, Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, George Clooney. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not many of them, no?
Yeah.
I know.
Exactly.
But even in that group, it's Brad Pitt.
Yeah, it's Brad Pitt. And so that was a moment where I thought, we've come a long way that
Yeah.
Brad Pitt is coming to the
How
house.
did Susie handle Brad Pitt at dinner?
Well, she obviously says to me that that for her isn't, she likes me much more. But she has to say that.
Don't worry. Don't
She has
you
to
worry.
say that. That was such a moment. But I'm looking at it, like I said, with a little bit of curiosity why all of this is happening. And I haven't found many advantages of being on TV. I mean, you get a better table in a restaurant.
But yeah, other than that, that's sort of where it ends.
Yeah, because you need to have your own vanity under control and thinking, I'm realizing that I like that. And then I'm try to dial myself back and say, that is just linked to the role. A politician is recognized by everyone. The moment the politician is stopping the activity, nobody cares.
Right.
And the same is in many other jobs. You're a CEO of a company, doesn't matter anymore. You stop as an actor or I stop in my role, that's gone. And I think you need to be prepared that if one day you step out of the hamster wheel, that this is going to stop. And that's why it shouldn't play a big importance to us.
Well, this has been an insane pleasure. My very last thing is Monica has only liked a single car. I try to get her interested in cars and she does not care. She likes a single car, the Mercedes 300 SL.
It's a beautiful car.
Toto has one.
You do? What color?
So I sold all the other cars.
You did?
Yeah. So I had to tick the boxes in terms of what I wanted to have and achieve. And then I sold them all.
Yeah, they're stressful.
Yeah. Also, I didn't feel like it wasn't authentic anymore, me driving around in an old Ferrari.
Right.
So I only kept the Mercedeses. And I have two of these, one Roadster convertible and one Gullwing.
That's the one.
And that's the one.
Although you'd be happy in that convertible.
Oh, I want
He
that
and
one.
Susie look so elegant. And I feel like I'm watching like a 60s
Wow.
Italian film. Yeah.
That's a beautiful
The
car.
gullwing, is great, but it's getting very hot in there. There's no air condition. The engine and the gearbox is right underneath of you. So in LA, it would be troublesome.
I love the heat. I can
You
take
love the
it.
heat?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
it's
take
in her
it.
jeans.
I can really
So
take
when
it.
you're next in Europe, tell us, we'll take you out in the gullwing.
I'll do it. I
you
will do
bitch.
it.
You bitch. That
Oh
was
my
my
God.
invite. It'd be like if Matt Damon invited.
Oh, that'd be like if Matt Damon
Oh,
invited
shit,
you
that
to
happened.
dinner
Yeah,
and you
that
didn't
happened.
bring me. Yeah, I wonder. I wonder how that would
I
feel.
deserve this. Great
That's
ending.
right. That's right.
That was
I
great.
take you too. We look a little bit like Frankensteins in the car if they're two tall guys. So I'm taking the seating pillow out. So I'm not looking too stupid.
Okay,
And
great.
then I fit under the steering wheel.
So this was my very last one. So your wife is an incredible driver. I have to imagine she probably could turn better lap times than you at most places.
Yes, and I'm proud of that.
Yeah, as you should be.
So she was a professional driver. She says, "What do you expect?" When we're getting this question asked.
Yeah.
So we were karting in the past, and she's always 2 seconds faster. And then I thought I'm gonna trick her. Obviously, I'm heavier, so I put 25 kilograms of ballast in the car,
Oh, great.
and so that's the wife of my children,
They're maybe here.
Rosie. They may be here.
Okay, great. We're landing the plane.
So I put the weight in her cart, 2 seconds. She says the card is actually pretty good.
Very
Then
stable.
I got myself special qualifying tires. Red Vegas.
wow.
They are so
You
sticky
went
that
for
your finger sticks on them. 2 seconds.
I love this.
Yeah. So
for her.
So yeah, she's really quick.
Well, Toto, this has been as fucking fun as I could have ever
Yes.
imagined.
For you, Monica, too.
So
It's just
fun.
carb stuff.
No, you're a star.
We kept it pretty not technical.
No, it's great. It's great.
I saw Monica rolling her eyes a little bit.
That's
oh
at
no,
him.
we're talking.
I also want to throw this out
I
here.
always roll.
Before we sign off, you allowed a journalist to write a book about what you're going through right now, which is a lot. And it's called Inside Mercedes F1, Life in the Fast Lane. And you guys all participate. It's a very good book to learn exactly what's happening on that team.
So I was generally not a book fan because I get asked quite regularly about biography or autobiography. And my answer is, let's do that when I'm 80. Because now people say I've been successful and let's write about it. But what is if I continue to fail now? So I don't want to have it stop at 50 and then there's only...
Take a nosedive.
Exactly. So let's write it when I'm 80.
Let's
And
make
I've
sure we
done
get
it.
to the finish line.
You already did, though.
Yeah, and when I'm gone, then you can have a real summary.
Right. That's,
Right.
that's
Like
true.
soup
You have
to
the whole
nuts.
story.
Exactly. I mean, we're certainly over halftime, both of us. And I hope so, we're over halftime.
Yeah.
But that book is different and special because it gives an insight into how the team operates. It's not an ego story. It is just the operation of the team. So I was a bit skeptical, but the journalist embedded himself really well. But it is a book, a little bit of a nerdy book for the operations of a Formula One team. But it's very interesting.
That's cool.
It's very interesting. It's very well written, and I recommend people who are interested at all in this to check that out. Inside Mercedes F1. It's been a blast. I hope we get to talk to you again, and we will soon be on a twisty road in something.
Yes, please.
Oh, well, you guys will be
In the
first in
Mercedes.
the 300.
Can't wait.
All right. Be well.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Unfortunately, they made some mistakes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We were both feeling sweatery today.
Yeah, it's officially festive time.
How awake are you?
I'm 22%.
22. That's pretty low.
Yeah.
Lowest you've
I mean,
ever
I
been
took
on
a shower.
Oh, good.
Normally that wakes me up, but yeah, it's early for the listener.
Yeah.
It's 9. That doesn't feel that. That doesn't sound that early.
But on a holiday.
On a holiday.
It feels absurd.
Yeah.
Yesterday was Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
In
it
our
was.
universe right now.
We were out and up late.
Yeah. What time did you go to slumber?
What time did I leave? Like 10? I think I left around 10. And then I had a little work to do. And then I had to work on today's gift guide.
Oh, you had to do that at night.
I had to do a lot at night.
What
because
time did you fall asleep?
I probably fell asleep at like 12:30.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So not horrendous.
No. I made a huge mistake yesterday. So when we were on the group chat, the girls group chat, figuring out timing for Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
Kristen wrote come over around 12 and we'll eat around 4.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened. I read that as come at 4. Like I missed the 12 part.
Oh, wow.
So I thought it was arrival time was 4, which I did kind of think was late.
Yeah.
I didn't love that choice.
No,
but
the day's over.
yeah, but I thought, oh, she just wants it to be fast. So, okay. And then I
Really quick, hold on. So I too am in the intentions judging business. But when I come up with an intention, I do also evaluate. So when you were like, yeah, she wants it over fast, you're like, that sounds right.
It's not that I was like, oh, it's bad she wants it over fast. It was just like, oh, maybe, I don't know.
She wants it
There's
in
a
and out
million
this year.
reasons that it could be. So I just didn't want to question it. So then I planned my whole day around a 4 o'clock.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So what did that
And
mean?
I had to make 2 dishes.
Right. Two beautiful dishes, potatoes.
2 sets of potatoes, 1 sweet, 1 mashed. And I was editing an episode. And I had a whole plan. I was going to like wake up leisurely and edit this episode.
Yeah.
Make my things.
Oh,
have
sip
plenty
a
of time.
coffee drink.
Pee. Laura texted and said, based on Cece, her baby's nap time, she said she'll probably be around 1. And I was like, 1? She's going to come 3 hours early? What's she thinking because of the baby? So then I scrolled up and I saw, and at this point it was 11:30.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
Okay. So
So
you
then
were already...
I went into a panic.
Yeah. And you were on a course of action at that
but
point.
I got there at 2:30.
Which was very late from my perspective, but I didn't know about the erroneous 4 p.m. start. So I was in a position of like, everyone's coming at noon, and then at noon, nobody comes.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Mhm. At 1, nobody comes. And then I go to my insecure place of like, oh, wow, no one's coming to our Thanksgiving.
Even though you knew everyone was
And then
coming.
I fast forward to whatever poor sucker does show up semi on time. They're going to be like, where is everybody? No one wanted to come to this party, I guess.
That's funny because, I mean, I guess it's the same thing you're thinking about me reading Kristen's text, but that feels outrageous to me because the only people there were our friends. So
Yeah.
no one thinks like that when it's just the pod. If it was a random party,
It was starting to
yes.
get a little embarrassing, though, that the kickoff time was noon and we didn't have anyone at 1, I don't know, 30?
This is
Maybe
the problem with the girls only being on the text.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah. And do you think most friend groups, it's like that? It's just the women?
Chitter-chattering,
Yeah.
chatter. I do.
Yeah. I'm trying
I
to,
don't
my
think
friend group at
guys-
home, similar.
Guy chains are very specific. I'm only on a few of them. I'm on like one with Wobby Wob for Formula One.
Oh, nice.
And that's just, so-and-so's getting fired. Yeah, they're going to rule. It's not like,
With Matt and Charlie too?
yeah, Matt, Charlie, Jethro, Wob, myself. Who else is on it, Wob? Anyone?
That's it.
That's it.
That's
From all the
sweet.
boys that had to be in communication
Yeah,
for F1,
I
it's
love
just
that.
kinda
You're
carried over.
keeping it up.
If you see something outrageous in the F1 community, that's where you sound off. But there's very little
Logistics.
What?
Very little logistics happening in there.
Correct. And this is maybe, again, I don't know if this is specific to me or this is common gender-wise, but there's a lot of things. And you're not a fan of a lot of these methodologies I have. And I agree, they're flawed, but for me, they're most efficient. Like, I don't ever ask, when there's 20 people over, I don't say, who's in the mood for sushi? It's like, I know this group. I know what people like. A bunch of food will arrive and no one will care. As long as there's food there.
You make the decision for the group.
Yeah, I don't do the hour and 20 minutes to order thing.
That's fine. There's 2 ways of being.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And I'm not angry at the other approach other than when I'm hungry. I'm like, oh my God, how long is it going to take everyone to decide on this? And then everyone's got, anyways. So similarly, it's like, here's a time to do a thing if you want to or not. There's never a bunch of haggling over it or fine tuning. Also a window, I would have never, all blessings to my wife, that's confusing to me. Starts at noon, dinner's at 4.
Well, that makes sense.
It's too gray. Like if I'm at home, like, what does that mean? When are people coming? Do people come 2 hours before dinner?
No, for Thanksgiving.
Like I wouldn't have told them when dinner starts. I would just said, be here at 2. I'll split it in the middle.
She has to tell us because we're all cooking stuff. We have to know, like, what.
I cooked the most in my house yesterday.
What'd you cook?
I made
Shitty biscuits.
5 trays of shitty biscuits.
You did.
4 pounds, biggest yield ever.
They were fantastic.
How many did you eat?
Like 4 probably.
That's a good amount.
yeah.
Yeah.
You cook the most in your house.
Yeah.
But everyone was making a lot of things, and you have to plan it time-wise because of oven times. Do you need to arrive with it hot? You have to know what time dinner's starting.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I don't know. 4 hours, take your pick, throw a dart at the board. Seems a little, and we got what we reaped what we sowed, which is like you wandered in at 2:30, someone was there at 1:45, someone came at 3.
It's fine.
It was all fine.
It's the way it's supposed to be, really.
Yeah. I want to open the door like I'm in Sweden. Have you heard this joke about Swedish people? Like if you throw a party and you announce it to your coworkers that I'm having a party at 5 p.m., they say in Sweden, the doorbell will ring, and when you open the door, all 52 guests will be there at 2 minutes before. Yeah, they're all there. It's not like one person's early. The whole group will be there at the exact same time.
Well, that's funny because on a previous Flightless Bird, we did talk about like arrival times and being late and parties. Because David was acknowledging, it looks like in America, people arrive late.
Whenever they're in the mood to get there.
Which,
they give them a nice 4-hour berth and just land somewhere.
think about any party, like a Halloween party. You don't go at the time.
That's my point entirely.
Yeah.
Think about a Halloween evening party.
Yeah.
There's so much anxiety. They said it starts at 8. No one's probably getting there at 8. You don't want to be the one person there. And then you're like, I guess that really means 10, 15, everyone, right? And you have all this anxiety and you can't plan it right. If it was just like, forget the 8, forget the early arrival. Let's go with when people are really going to come. Let's say this party starts at 9:30.
But then people will come at 11.
Well, I think everyone's just responding to this willy-nilly broad strokes.
Well,
There's a 4-hour window of arrival time. I don't know.
Well, technically, I was actually an hour and a half early.
To dinner.
to
Two and a half
I thought
hours
was the
late
arrival time.
to the hang time.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right, though. It was the pod, so I didn't get too insecure. But if that was like my birthday party.
That's how we normally do. We just roll in and roll out.
By 1:30, I would have canceled the birthday party. Like if it started at noon and at 1:30, it's still just my family sitting there. And then my anxiety of who's going to be the first one there to see that I'm a nerd, that no one came. I just
Were you
cancel
sitting on the
it.
couch like?
I try to make myself a little busy. I'm like, I'm going to go. I don't want to be sitting at the door when people walk in like, hi, and I'm on the couch in my Thanksgiving best. Anyways, spectacular Thanksgiving.
Beautiful Thanksgiving.
Really another perfect Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
What were your highlights? I'm sure you can guess mine.
I can guess yours. You played volleyball. Okay, that was your
Christmas volleyball.
Thanksgiving.
When I grew up, we went to a family reunion in Sturgis, Michigan at the LeBeau's, and it was at the motel. And there's a conference room, and you had a big, huge, I don't know how many there were of us, 35, there's 6 kids and grandkids. And then you played football in the field. It was cold as hell, all the uncles and stuff. Kind of fun. The kids couldn't really play football.
Oh.
The adults are running around tearing hamstrings and stuff, and the kids are like, I'm open, you know.
Yeah, that's
You're just
so
out there
cute.
running around, I guess.
Yeah, and acting like you're a part of it.
Yes, and then you're a big boy like your uncles
Oh,
throwing a football. So we didn't have a sport contingency out here. And I really like now that volleyball might be an option.
yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite was Secret Turkey. That's always so lovely.
Secret turkey. And again, everyone already knows how it works. Lily assigns it. But I will say this year, I think people try to top themselves from the previous years. It's on a kind of an untenable course.
It is. It's getting out of control.
Yeah. It was like that present.
Ryan made a knife.
He forged a knife and he made the handle out of wood.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of the thing I've yelled at you about.
Thank
My
you.
do not
and
disturb
guess
was
who's
on.
changed all her ways?
Her do
Because
not
you say
disturb
one
ways.
mean thing, one critical thing.
Highlights of Secret Turkey.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think were?
Oh, God.
I'm biased a little bit. I'm so impressed with Delta's hot air balloon baseball. What a present.
She made such a cute one.
25 man hours at least.
Yeah, these presents took forever.
Yeah. I want to talk about, you gave a advent calendar
I did. I made
Molly.
to Amy.
to Amy, correct?
Yes, I made one.
You said Molly is Amy. You gave it to Amy.
So I bought these little boxes.
You purchased those
I purchased the cardboard boxes.
at a box store, cardboard box store?
Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Amazon Prime.
Oh, you can order them.
Yeah.
They come in a sheet and you assemble them? Oh, great.
So I assembled all of them and then I made them into a Christmas tree shape.
Is that standard advent calendar?
A lot of them are made into Christmas tree shapes.
Okay,
Not all. Some of them are rectangles, but I wanted to make it festive. And so I drew on each one. I drew like the number and I drew all over each box. And after the third box, I thought, I am not going to make it. I can't do it.
Well, great. I'm glad you brought this up. I wouldn't have said anything, but I looked at it and it was enormously impressive. It was huge. I want to say it was like 28 inches tall.
Yeah, it was huge. It
And
didn't
it
fit
was
in a trash bag.
18 inches wide, maybe 24 inches wide, 24, let's say. The top boxes were like pictures and drawing. And then I noticed on the bottom, I just noticed it said like 21, 22, 23, 20, like it seemed
22,
like you
23, 24. That wasn't a cheat. That was, I knew you would think that. Oh my God.
Well, I don't know about advent
I
calendars.
actually anticipated Eric was going to say this out loud.
Well, I didn't say anything, of course. I didn't want to humiliate anyone. But you just told me you started phoning it in, and I thought,
I did
that makes
not.
sense.
You didn't even let me finish.
Oh,
okay. The reason the bottom is just the bottom row 22, 23, 24 was out of brown marker and it just said it. But that's because that's the stump.
Oh.
That's the stump. The rest is the tree.
okay.
The top had a star on it.
Oh, beautiful. It was
Anywho.
hugely impressive. I don't know why you're upset.
Because oh my God, you're so gaslighty. You're like, I see you phoned it in. I don't know why you're upset
No,
about
just at
that.
the end, it looked like at the end you were like, that's enough.
That was the stump.
Okay, so it's supposed to look like wood.
Yeah.
Okay.
And after the third one, I thought, I can't do this anymore. This would
be a 5-day project.
And then I thought, this is for Amy. She's an angel. She's a true angel on earth.
Okay.
She deserves this. So it was a 5-day project.
Okay, I didn't listen to the end.
Yeah, you didn't.
Okay.
I did not.
So the bottom was a choice. You could see from the layperson at the end, it just said, oh, wow, it was written in black.
It wasn't black. It was brown and gold.
It was gold, too.
Anyway, I glued all the boxes together.
Did you use a hot glue gun?
I had to.
Or Elmer's glue?
I tried Elmer's. It didn't work. I had to use Gorilla and Super.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you get a bunch on your fingers?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I glued all of that to a piece of cardboard. And then I had to X-Acto knife around it.
Oh, wow. For structural integrity.
I bought an X-Acto knife.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
All ordered off of the internet?
No, some of them are Postmates.
Did you go? Oh, Postmates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But you never went to an arts and crafts store.
Did I go to Blick? No, but I use materials I have purchased from Blick before.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, it was really fun. And then I had to fill each box up.
So that's all this was leading up. We got derailed by my observation and my apologies, but I'm dying to know what's inside.
Yeah, everyone
'Cause
is.
I've never owned an advent calendar. I've only seen them in Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
And there's chocolates inside usually?
Normally. But these are real treats.
Are there any you can say that by the time this airs she'll have opened those 3 days?
Oh, okay. Amy, if you're listening, no, because this is hers. It goes all the way through December, her calendar. So Amy is listening because she's, as I said, an angel. She listens to everything. So please cover your ears, turn this off.
Okay, right.
Fast forward.
Well, Ryan too, because he's not a good secret keeper.
Ryan
Remember, he
too.
tells Amy.
Okay, Ryan.
I don't want you to know about Cosby. What about Cosby? No, I don't want you to know. That's a real life thing, by the way.
It is. Okay, so both of you fast forward a couple minutes. So yeah, there's like, well, she opened one. We let her open one. It was a sheep ornament.
All right, beautiful ornament.
I got her like a little cute little like lipstick, some measuring spoons, all that.
Oh, fun. There's like 25 presents in there.
Well, every other one is a real present.
Okay.
There's like a really cute wine
In the off days
stopper.
is a chocolate?
2 teas.
Oh.
Fancy teas.
Drinking tea.
Yeah, she has a tea drawer, so I figured she could make her tea drawer cute.
That's great. How long do you think it took you to make this present?
It took a really long time. Plus then the purchases, plus it was an adventure.
My family had commandeered the entire dining room table, put plastic over it, and this was going on for 3 days.
Yeah.
And there were 2 full days where the 3 of them all sat at this table doing art projects, competing over the oils and the paint.
They all did paintings.
There were a lot of meltdowns and blow-ups. So God bless. I stayed out of there.
Yeah.
I went up to the attic with my new light board to make my present for Matt.
Yes.
Which was a collage, I guess you'd call it.
It was a collage. It was very, very, very good.
Oh, thank you.
You drew a lot of things that were Matt Matt's favorite things.
Maple Leafs logo. He's very into Muay Thai kickboxing right now.
Yes.
So 2 Muay Thai fighters. Picture of him holding his baby that I got off of Instagram. And then above his head, a sim racing setup, which he loves. And then scissors, because he's a hairstylist.
I know. It was very cute. And you framed it.
I think the sky's the limit with this light board. It's an enormous cheat, but as we talked about, you and I, there's a lot of fun in assembling and then interpreting what your collage is going to be.
Yeah.
And now I have whole new fantasies about being able to use the light board to draw like a downtown cityscape and then put my weird characters in them. So hybrid.
I love
Do a
that.
little photorealism and then my weird characters.
I like that.
I've got a whole fantasy about my life with this light board.
Wow. Wow. That's great. What a good hobby.
Yeah.
I love
It's pretty
that.
fun. Speaking of the light board,
Uh-huh.
on a previous fact check, I said I couldn't do a crow.
That's
Couldn't do it. But I got this light board and now I got a crow.
Yes.
And so now the
sweatshirt.
holiday sweatshirt is complete.
Yes.
So they're going to go on sale Friday, December 6th. That is in
2 days.
2 days at 9 a.m. Pacific. So if you're in New York, that's noon, Dingle's lunch break. If you're in the mountain areas, I don't know, maybe 11. Maybe if
Just
you're
check your time
in
zones.
Central,
Oof.
it's 10. I don't know.
I'm having stress for everyone's time zones.
I can't keep Mountain and Central straight, which one's earlier than the other. But Pacific time, 9 a.m., and you go to armchairexpertpod.com.
It's a very cute sweatshirt.
I really like it.
Yeah.
I think it turned out really, really cute.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. It's really nice.
Your mouse is the best part.
And everyone's seen the mouse at this, well, not everyone, but a lot of people have seen the mouse at
Yes.
this point because it has appeared on my gift guides.
I read day one of the gift
Oh,
guide.
you did? Okay.
And what are you going to guess my favorite joke is in it? There's one
Did
home
you read
run.
Substack or did you read just
Substack.
Instagram? Oh, you read the whole thing?
Yeah.
The joke about Kristen on the phone?
No.
I don't remember.
Blowing
Day one
out
was a
all of
while
her
ago.
candle.
Oh, yeah.
I think some people might miss that. Maybe not.
It
Maybe
was
that's
on
really
purpose,
obvious.
obviously.
But she only turned one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you blew out all of her candle.
I did.
That's really funny.
Thanks.
Okay, so Secret Turkey was an incredible success. Other call out, again, Delta made a hot air balloon with like a structure and a floating balloon.
It was incredible.
Made the balloon a baseball. Ace loves baseball. Ballast on the side of the basket,
So
like
cute.
sandbags.
It was so cute.
Light fixture inside that I guess replicated the fire going up. I don't know if that was just
I think it was
decorative
just
or
festive.
festive.
How'd she buy a light thing? She bought it off Amazon?
I think she went and watched a tutorial on how to make a hot air balloon.
That's so cool.
Laura gave me a beautiful photorealistic, I like saying that word,
Yeah.
charcoal drawing of Little Mr. Texas.
That's right. It should probably go
Runner-
in here.
It should. Runner up.
Yes.
Runner up, Little Mr.
If
Texas.
you missed that episode with Matthew McConaughey, that was the first time he was on.
So I have this very, very arm's distance relationship with him. We've done a few things together. And I'm considering, I think I want to take a picture of that and say I received this as a gift. How do you think that lands
I think
on him?
that's a good idea. Yeah.
Okay. You never know if stuff's flattering or is bordering on weird and obsessed.
Well, yeah, because I guess he'll be like for Thanksgiving. I mean, you might have to explain the whole
There's
thing.
a lot to unpack. Let's just reverse this. He sends me a picture that a family member or friend drew of me and gave to him.
You'd love it.
I'd love it, right? As long as it was a flattering picture.
You would love it. And I think he would love it.
Yeah, we're both kind of
Mm-hmm.
similar in that way. What do we call that? Attention whores?
I don't
What
know.
is it?
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Okay, we're going to hit pause on the fact check to thank our presenting sponsor, Amazon Prime. Prime has you covered with movies, music, and everything you could possibly need to make the holidays perfect. Whatever you're into, it's on Prime.
We love Prime. They literally have everything.
They have everything. They totally do. Perfect example. If you're traveling for the holidays, you've got to be ready for anything on your trip.
Yeah, like escaping LA and Thanksgiving traffic.
Oh, big time. If you're driving or taking a flight in the next few weeks, you might hit traffic or delays. And if or when that happens, you need fun stuff to pass the time, especially if you're traveling with kids like we are, like a season of a TV show to binge, maybe a video game. Prime has tons of great games.
And when someone else is hosting you, you have to show up with a little something. It's just what you do.
Yeah, when you're trying to solve the riddle of what can I fit in my suitcase so I show up looking like a good guest, that's where being able to find all the stuff on Prime is clutch.
I like to bring something small enough to travel with that still feels classy, like maybe a new apron or dish towels for the cook in the house, because that is a brave person who is hosting everyone.
Yes, I love that. Maybe even a small board game or a card game, something to keep everyone busy so they leave the cook alone to do their thing.
And the best part is you can get it all shipped to you fast before you hit the road. Prime has everything you need to travel and help everyone enjoy what they're into.
And for those that are on the couch eating leftovers, Prime even has an NFL game on Black Friday. Doesn't get any better than that.
Nice. Sitting on the couch and shopping, ding, 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 while watching football really is peak Thanksgiving.
From streaming to shopping, it's on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to get more out of whatever you're into.
Rob put a box by my
Wait, what's going on?
I don't know. I don't.
Oh my God, there's gifts already?
Wait. What? Oh my God. Wait, stop.
Oh, is that an Emily burger? Pretzel bun?
What in the world? She made this?
Oh, my photorealistic.
Celebs on sandwiches. This is so flattering.
Can I get a better look
And
at
it's
it?
an Emily burger?
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
How do they find the picture
You
of
told him that,
Emily
right?
burger?
Yeah, that was perfect.
You know what's interesting? What do you think I'm going to say about this rendition of you?
That my mouth looks big?
I don't really ever think you look like your mom. But in this
Oh.
rendition, you look a bit like your mom.
I could see that. I actually think it's pretty good.
It's outrageously good.
Like
but
accurate.
Somehow a bit of Nermi is in it more than normal.
I mean, I look like her.
Wow.
This is so flattering. Celebs on sandwiches.
This is a big moment.
I've got gifted this a few times to people. It was on my, I think, original gift guide, Celebs on Sandwiches, my original.
Original guide.
Wow, how sweet. Okay, well,
wow.
that's a really flattering. Thank you, Celebs on Sandwiches.
You know what's going to be weird? Okay, so Kristen had you.
Yeah, she did.
And she did this beautiful painting.
She did.
By hand of you.
It's incredible. It's gorgeous.
And
she's oils.
All kinds of positive affirmations written along it.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
But I am starting to think, like, you have an inordinate amount of photos and paintings of yourself now for your house.
I think this should live here.
Okay.
With yours.
Yeah, mine's right behind your head, so maybe yours should be behind my head. I don't know how that'll work. All to say, you have quite an interesting bank of art now you've accumulated.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wonder, like, on a first date when a guy goes into your house and there's like a ton of paintings of yourself.
I think it's fine.
It's fine, right? It'll be seen as playful.
I have a lot of art.
Yeah.
So
It'll get lost in the shuffle.
It's not that the only art I have
If you have
is
a whole wall that's just you.
like you did.
When I was... 20 years ago?
Yeah. When you lived alone.
Oh, boy. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, you had
I just
pictures.
printed up photos from movie stills that they send you.
Yeah.
It's rough.
It's okay.
It's really
It happened.
I know. I didn't know what to do.
I know.
But
So I feel like you're projecting a little bit of your own.
Probably my own embarrassment from past.
Yeah. So this is going to live here. Wow.
Yeah, I guess we could have unlimited pictures of ourselves here, and it's not.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's really special. And on an Emily burger. Pretty jealous about the food item. I mean, I can't complain because I've got a Coney dog from Detroit, which is great.
Oh.
But boy, it's
really nice. Okay, well, yeah, Thanksgiving was a big hit. I'm really thankful to our armchair. I mean, Thanksgiving is in the past now, but I'm still thankful to our listeners, our beautiful armchairies.
Me too.
We're so lucky. And this is for Toto.
I want to say there's something we earmarked.
You wanted to talk about Max Verstappen.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
And I told
That's
you
what
to
it was,
wait till this
to
week
Toto.
because Toto.
Well, I just simply want to say he won his 4th title in a row. It's been a really dicey year for him. Red Bull's finishing 3rd or 4th in the Constructors' Championship, so their car is not by any stretch the best. Yet he still managed to win.
That's crazy.
A lot of it because of this impossible rain race he had 2 races ago in Brazil, which when they make the documentary like Senna about him in 20 years, this race is going to be a good 15 minutes of it. Started in 17th in the rain, finished first by 20 seconds, passed 11 people in the first 11 laps. Drive of his life.
Wow.
Incredible year.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Max. Congratulations to Toto for being.
Toto won. Toto, which Mercedes has been struggling so bad. Vegas, they came in 1st and 2nd.
Nice.
So this is good timing.
Also, I love Toto. Absolutely loved him. He was so much more playful than I anticipated.
He's a rascal. That was a
I
reveal.
enjoyed him so much. So now I'm for team, because now that Danny isn't racing,
Yeah.
I don't have anyone to root for.
Yeah.
So now I root for Mercedes because of Toto.
Okay, great. That's great.
So I'm going to buy a hat. It also makes sense.
It's definitely the team you would have wanted to support anyways.
Yeah.
It's the classiest team on the
correct.
grid.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to support an energy drink.
No, I don't. Okay. Now, some facts. He brought up Nikki Lauda.
Yes.
It's a hard word to say, or a
Is
hard
it?
name to pronounce. Lauda.
Laude.
DA. It's
Oh,
spelled correctly.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just like, it seems like you're being pretentious, but you're not.
Niki Lauda.
Right.
Niki Lauda. I think that's what you're supposed to say. Niki Lauda.
Okay. He is Austrian.
Yeah, Lauda. That's why it's a Lauda. Niki Lauda. I love Niki. He's a mentor, Lauda.
Okay.
How about this? I'm going to ask your name.
Okay.
Oh, boy, how do I do this? Okay, I'm going to ask your name, and you're going to say Niki Lauda.
Okay.
What's your name?
Nikki Lauda.
What is your name?
Nikki.
Because louder
I
sounds
know.
like louder. It's pretty good. One more time.
No, we already did.
But maybe it'll be fun a second time. What's your name?
Nikki Lauda.
What is your name?
It wasn't better the second
wasn't.
time. It was
My
great
timing
the
was-
first time.
Yeah, my timing got worse.
Oh my God. Okay. Now, he competed in Formula One from 1971 to 1979 and from 1982 to 1985. He won 3 Formula One Drivers' Championship titles and at the time of his retirement held the record for most podium finishes, 54. He remains the only driver to have won a World Drivers' Championship with both Ferrari and McLaren and won 25 Grand Prix across 13 seasons.
And was horribly burnt
Yeah.
in a mid-career crash and kept at it.
It's amazing.
Didn't care.
Yeah. He passed in 2019. He died in his sleep at 70, where he had been undergoing kidney dialysis. He had experienced a period of ill health exacerbated by his lung injuries from the 1976 accident. He had a double lung transplant the previous year and kidney transplants in 97 and 2015. His body really went through it.
Yeah, double lung and double kidney. Now we're 20% through all the organs being replaced.
Did you just
Do you
kiss
think-
your hand?
Did I what?
Did you just kiss your hand?
Kiss my hand. No, I just went like that.
Oh, I thought
I neurotically make sure the corners of my mouth. That's a rough one for me.
when you see people with that.
With a bunch of paste in there. I can't.
Now I'm
You don't have it, and you don't ever have it.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I know what you
when
mean, and
someone's
it is
talking
gross.
with a really sticky mouth, that to me, I'd rather smell something. And I already said smells are my worst.
You'd rather smell something?
I can't deal. If I'm watching like a TED Talk and someone's mouth gets really, really dry and starts doing that, I'm like, fuck, I can't listen to it. Because even if I look away, I can hear it. I don't have misophonia, but I do just in
Interesting.
that.
I understand.
Do you understand
I
that?
do. I do. It's not, well, it's funny to me that you'd rather smell it because I think what's gross is I do think it has a smell.
Yeah. It's just so sticky.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
So he was 70 but he lived a life doing what he loved. Oh, when I thought you were kissing, I thought you were giving him like,
Oh, a send off.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been jealous in movies when you watch the cat? What is it? Genuflect? Is that what it's called?
When they do this?
genuflect.
I
You
do.
touch your forehead, then your sternum, and then your both sides.
Yeah,
you do
it's
the
a
cross.
cross.
Yeah. I like that pageantry.
I do too.
Yeah.
But I feel really, can you knock on wood? Because I feel like we shouldn't have just done that a few times.
Oh, and that brings me to one thing that we left out that we need to address.
Okay.
Definitely the best secret turkey of the night was Eric took 30 pounds of candy and somehow made a painting of Lauren Matt's baby
Yeah.
in candy.
Yeah. He made a portrait of
was
Cece
at-
out of candy.
And it was at both times very good.
It was.
And it was absolutely terrifying. It was
Yeah.
one of the most horrific photo. It looked like the most evil baby in the world. It looked like
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers.
Yeah.
It looked like the baby was wearing a hockey mask, a goalie's mask.
Because he used white saltwater taffy for the face.
Yes. And it was insane looking. And there was hair.
But there was also a resemblance to her. It
I know.
It was pretty good.
But back to knock on wood, I was like, that feels like
You thought it was a bad omen.
I thought it was a curse.
No,
Like
it wasn't.
akin to a voodoo doll.
I know, but it wasn't. It was a sweet
I think that needs to
portrait
be
made.
destroyed
No,
for
it
the
was
safety.
a sweet portrait made of candy by Eric, and he put a lot of time into it. And
And the eyes are just black.
the
They're so
person
dead.
has to curse it. Eric didn't curse it. That's how
He doesn't know
spirits
his
work.
powers as well as he should, though. He might accidentally curse it. Okay.
Okay. Speaking of Detroit versus Austria homicides, the city of Detroit finished 2023 with 252 homicides, which is the fewest recorded since 1966. We like that.
That's
we like
great.
that trajectory.
Great trajectory.
Now, there isn't any information about Austria in 2023, but there is 2017.
There probably hasn't been a murder since 17
Exactly. There were 54 intentional homicides in Austria.
in the whole country.
In the whole country in 2017. Although now I'm looking at the word intentional.
Well, we wouldn't count vehicular homicide.
But what about if you're shooting
You're
and
hunting.
if you're hunting
Uh-huh.
in Detroit and you
Yeah, not a lot of
I know, but
urban
that
hunting
would
going
count if you accidentally killed someone.
Well, no, because that wouldn't be intentional. It'd be
manslaughter.
accidental.
No, I know, but I'm saying the Detroit one doesn't say intentional. So maybe they're including accidentals.
Maybe.
Isle of Man.
Really quick, what's the population of Australia?
You mean Austria?
I mean Austria.
9.13 million.
9.13.
That's small.
So about 10 times the size of Detroit. Detroit's under 1 million people.
Really?
Yes. 10x the people and 1/5 the murders.
Yeah, 630,000 in Detroit.
Oh,
so
wow.
we could say that's actually a 50x.
All right.
Okay.
Isle of Man is a self-governing British Crown dependency in the Irish Sea between England and Ireland. And then, yes, it has this big race that is a big deal. Annual cross-country motorcycle race.
They race around the island. It's the most terrifying thing. It is, in all of motorsports, the absolute pinnacle of craziness. It's the Mount Everest of motorsports.
Well, that's it for Toto. He was lovely, and I really, really enjoyed him.
Okay, and really quick, this should have been said at the beginning, but now we're here at the end. We are here early on this day because this is one among your most special days of the year.
Yes.
You and
Yes.
Callie are going Black Friday sale shopping, but at places without Black Friday sales,
Well,
which is really incredible.
Sometimes they have like 20% offs in certain stores. We go to Brentwood Country Mart. It's very, very, very fun, and I'm so excited to go do
and
that
how
with
many
her.
hours will you spend there?
Just a few, and then we'll come back, and then we're gonna go to Rolling Greens, the plant store, and get some Christmassy items too.
Fun. What time will you start drinking at the mart? right away when you get there? Mimosas?
No. We don't always drink.
Oh, you don't?
No. We'll probably get coffee and then we get lunch. So when we get lunch, sometimes there's wine at lunch, but it's not like, we're not like carrying around flasks.
Oh, you're
or
not? No
anything.
flasks? No wine silks?
No. But I'm excited for that. And then tomorrow is Pig Day. I get my Christmas tree.
Yeah, it's a very busy 3 days.
It's my favorite stretch of the year.
Yeah.
I'm excited. And it's sort of a ding, ding, ding because it's like F1.
Oh.
F1 race is kind of like this stretch of the year. Final lap.
Oh, okay.
Also, on my gift guide that I put out today, I included an F1 coffee table book.
I saw it, and it was titled
F1 The Impossible something.
No, the actual
The Little Prince.
The Little Prince. I thought this was very playful and fun.
All of them, each gift guide this year, there are 5 of them.
Are book themed.
Correct.
Yeah, the first one was about her.
No, the first one was The Time Traveler's Wife.
Yeah, wife.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Then it was Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, my favorite book. Those are more mundane items. Then it was...
What's Tomorrow about?
Well, it's about these gamers, but the title to me represents like it's just day after day after day.
Okay.
So it's mundane items. Then it was For Little Fires Everywhere. That was a candle theme.
Yes.
And today was
That's
Little
another
Prince.
good book too.
Tomorrow, do you want to hear Lord of the Rings?
Oh, wow.
Story.
Oh, Jewel, this might be your peak creative endeavor thus far.
I don't know.
Can I throw a book out as a challenge and then you got to come up with gifts that...
Next year.
Oh, okay, cool.
I was only 5 days. Well, sure. Go ahead. Let's see.
Of Mice and Men.
It would be armchair themed.
Oh. And it would have our holidays.
Of Mice and Men. So it would have our holiday sweater on it. It would have celebs on sandwiches.
Okay, this is great. Ember mugs.
It would have ember mugs.
The Budenoki mugs.
Oh, so I almost put salty sea dog mugs, but they're sold out, and it felt a little.
Well, it's like a waste. No one can get it.
I did
so it's
put
not
a
really
candle
an idea.
on that's always sold out too, but I had to.
You had it. ethically.
Best boy statues.
What if you're just putting stuff in here for sale on your on your gift guide and you didn't tell us?
And one of the gifts for that will also be Bax cashmere sweater. That's a long game. It's like they
2036
sign
probably.
up and they get it in 50 years. So I did it.
And you get updates. Like once a year, you get a photo of how big your sample.
It is getting smaller.
I know.
You need to add some.
Yeah. Well, we got a crop due.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. Well, holidays are upon us. I'm so happy. Thanksgiving was a blast, and now onward and upward onto Christmas.
Yay.
Let's go. Pedal to the metal. I love you.
Love you.